team's injury report in an accurate and timely manner for their game against the Nuggets. However, no violation of the participation program due to Embiid's documented injury.
It's time.
You know what time it is?
Time. Game for Tuscaloosa's longest running sports show.
The biggest goal of our team,
especially in the first half,
we at Bama, we're trying to be the best. Always is to win a national championship.
Something cool to look back on.
We don't want to waste a failure.
You're inside the game.
John Mechie on the ground.
Appreciate your interest in the game.
On your home for Alabama sports.
Alabama wins.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. And now, here's your award-winning host, Ryan Fowler.
And a big good afternoon to you. Welcome into the game. T-Town Tide at 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. We're going to have a lot of fun today. I plan to sit back and, we're not going to do a Brian Hard Construction early free-for-all Friday, but we're going to have some fun. It's a Thursday. We're going to feature another coach because we've done that every day this week. We've had a chance to feature coaches that can help us understand, this Nick Saban way of doing things. And I think it also, you go and we're going to dive into a coach. Joe Panunzio is going to be a part of our show. He's currently the Philadelphia Eagles assistant coach, and he's been here on multiple occasions with the University of Alabama. He's won multiple national titles. He won the 2011, the 2012, as an assistant coach on the 2017 team. So a couple of different stints here in Tuscaloosa. We're going to talk about it because he's coached running backs, he's coached tight ends, he's been the special teams coordinator, he's been on the administration side of things. He was a guy that, director of player personnel, director of football operations. He wore a lot of different titles here and highly thought of in the recruiting business. When you think about, and many people just say Joe Paul. Joe was a guy that when you look at recruiting, to be able to go out and win a lot of those recruiting battles, we're going to talk with him today at 3:30. We're going to feature Joe Panunzio, which is current Philadelphia Eagles director of player development for the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll dive into that coming up in just a couple of minutes. He is also the assistant special teams coach, so he wears a lot of different hats, even in the National Football League, and he's spent a lot of time there with multiple different teams. So he's coached all over college football, and he's been also in the NFL side. So we'll feature Joe coming up around 3:30. We're going to feature Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, the editor, the founder, the guy that has wrote a book, Bigger Than Bama. Part of that book dives into something that we're going to talk about today, okay? I want to go back to the Nick Saban hiring process to understand what, in this entire week, we feature coaches after coaches after coaches. Next week, we're going to feature player after player after player. And we're lining up quite a few that have played for the greatest football coach to ever walk the sidelines. But I want to go back last Friday. Last Friday was the 26th day of this month. We honored Coach Paul Bear Bryant. And we began to talk with Kirk McNair. Kirk is a historian of the game. He really is a historian of the University of Alabama. Probably, if I was ranking 5 guys that would know Alabama history more than anybody, Rodney Orr is certainly in that top 3. AP Stedham's in that top 3. Kirk McNair would also be there when you talk about a historian that just knows the game of the University of Alabama. Kirk McNair made a proposal last week on our show, and he said, listen, I don't want this to sound by no means disrespectful to President Denny. That is where Bryant-Denny Stadium, the name, came from. We rededicated that stadium against BYU in 1997 is when Alabama opened up that season, the rededication of Bryant-Denny Stadium. So just think about that. 1997. It's not been that long ago since Denny Stadium became Bryant-Denny Stadium. He made the proposal, and I thought it was one of those that it kind of hit home because I'd always thought Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium would be an appropriate side of things, right? Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And Kirk pointed it out. He said, I think when you back up a little bit, I'm not sure if that's significant enough. I don't know if it's significant enough. I don't know if it's, when you think about Saban Field, does anybody when you travel to Athens, Georgia, know what the field's named after? And I think he highlighted the University of Tennessee. So I'm kind of curious here. From an Alabama perspective, what if we renamed Bryant-Denny Stadium and we called it, you want to put Saban first or second, Noah?
I like it second.
You like it as Bryant-Saban Stadium?
I think so.
I think it should be Saban-Bryant Stadium.
Saban-Bryant Stadium. I could see it working
Saban's
either way.
better than Coach Bryant.
You're calling that now?
Oh, I've been saying it for years. I get trash when I say it.
I know. Well, but I mean, you have to think about is what are people going to go for?
But now, as far as win total, Coach Bryant has more. 232. Nick Saban has what? 206, 207. Need to go back and get those 5 wins from 2007 that were vacated. But if we rename the stadium, would that be appropriate? Would you be supportive of that? Would you be one of those guys that said, hey, absolutely? And what else needs to be named after Nick Saban? That won't be the dominant conversation. We're going to talk about Alabama kicking Georgia's butt. Kind of like Auburn. Alabama's dominated them in everything from hockey to basketball, the football. I mean, you probably couldn't pick a bigger way to ended up kind of yanking that victory out of their arms when you look at the Auburn Tigers. I mean, think about how big that 31-yard pass is from Jalen Milroe to Isaiah Bond. What if Nick Saban walks out of here as his final day as a final year as a coach at the University of Alabama losing to Auburn? I know another coach that did, and he was a historic coach. He didn't lose to Auburn very many times, but that final game got him when you look at the Iron Bowl. Or maybe that would have, you'd flip the side. What if that pass drops and Auburn beats Alabama? Does Nick Saban keep going? Because at that point, he doesn't make the playoffs. Think about the view of that season. So that's why I'm going to celebrate that special moment. You can celebrate it at DanielMooreArt.com. DanielMooreArt.com. By the way, they told me yesterday, as far as people that tell them, hey, you hear about it right here on the game, they were giving me some numbers as far as people that order stuff, and they say, hey, when we select, hey, you heard it right here on the game, a ton. I say thank you. DanielMooreArt.com. Celebrate that special moment, but I tell you something else that's flying off the shelves at DanielMooreArt.com. The legacy continues. The legacy continues, Brent, because it's celebrating all these special moments that we're talking about, and you can find it at DanielMooreArt.com. Remember the code word, The Game, significant discount by the code word, The Game. And when you're checking it out, they'll say, where did you hear about it? Got several different options there. Please select The Game with Ryan Fowler. I say thank you. DanielMooreArt.com, the great partnership that we've had for a number of years. And they give us a lot of things to give away. So we're always very thankful, and we try to pay this back to our audience. So if you're ordering something for that special Alabama fan in your life, it's DanielMooreArt.com. But if we rename the stadium, would that be something that you would get behind? We did it in 1997, the rededication of Bryant-Denny Stadium. Could we do it again in 2024? And if you don't like that idea, come up with something else. Because we need to, President Denny, when was President Denny? Can you look that up real quick, Noah? When was President Denny at the University of Alabama? I just wonder, is his family still around? Does he have like a 19th great-great-great-great-great-granddad? Was it the 20s, right?
Well, it says she served as president from 1912 through 1936, and then as interim president in 41 and 42.
Okay, so that would have been 41, 42 would have been right around the war. So, okay.
But 36 was for real.
I know his significance. Anyway, we won't study that. But is there anybody that would be opposed to taking Denny off of the stadium? It's history. It's been Denny Stadium for a long time. We could also pull it off Denny Chimes, too. We call it Saban Chimes. Play AC/DC, Thunderstruck.
I like Denny Chimes. I think that has a good ring to it, better than Saban Chimes.
Okay. So you say no. How should we honor Coach Saban? Is great, but it's a street that very few people even know where it is. Where is it?
Could name the quad after him.
We could, but that's still not. The stadium, the field would have been nice, right? Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. but it's not. How about Alabama getting a victory over the Dogs? I know we talked about that a couple of seconds ago, but that was a game that Noah and I were here doing work last night until I guess it was close to 7 o'clock before we left. But we had it on, and Alabama kind of started out and was like, oh, man, that 2-game winning streak, beating Auburn, beating LSU, scoring 109 points against LSU. Like, it's over. Man, that was and then all of a sudden, wow, what a second half. What a second half when you look at the Alabama Crimson Tide and knock out the Dogs. Take that. And Kirby Smart was in the house, so maybe he was watching Alabama come from behind. Stop me if you've heard that. Alabama comes from behind to beat Georgia. We'll talk to Rodney Orr. We'll break it down with a lot of different ways. We've got audio clips and a couple of things that Kalen DeBoer said yesterday that I want to go back. And I heard Christian and Corey talking about it earlier on the Miller's Edge. Thought they did a great job. I want to add to a little bit of that. And I'll agree with them on a couple of different things on the quarterback side of things. We'll do that coming up in a couple of minutes. Rodney Orr, the editor, the founder, TITV, Bigger Than Bama, the book that's available right now. We'll continue with more. Rodney Orr's next. Joe Panunzio, Brad Powers, all to come right here. We'll be with you for the next 4 hours. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
According to Alabama Commerce Secretary Ellen McNair, if Mercedes and other state automaker employees are allowed to unionize, it could be the end of industrial growth in the state. 49-year-old Mert Eugene Neff of Indianapolis has been charged with obstructing the federal grand jury investigation into the 2023 baseball gambling scheme that cost Alabama baseball coach Brad Bohannon his job. In sports, former Crimson Tide golfer Nick Dunlap makes his professional debut today in the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. What if you could win $1,000?
It's always about the money.
And it only took you a minute to do it. It's happening on Fridays with the only legal betting app in Alabama. Bet U. To have a shot at the money, go to the iPhone App Store and download the Bet U app. That's bet and the letter U. Open your account and you're officially in the running to win $1,000 this Friday.
Let's win.
Make sure you download the Bet U app in the App Store and open your account to be in to win it this Friday.
Thanks so much, guys.
Winners will be
minutes away at Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where you can be a winner too. Birmingham Racecourse Casino off I-459, exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
DreamlandBBQ.com. Dreamland Barbecue since 1958. Coach Bryant arrived at the University of Alabama. So did Dreamland with Big Daddy's Barbecue Hickory Smoke Ribs. If you're talking about catering for that big tailgate, or maybe it's just that family gathering or that small office party, you can do it at either location. You can also order online. Carry out, curbside pickup, delivery are now available. It is DreamlandBBQ.com. We do our score prediction every Tuesday and Wednesday, made possible by Dreamland. That wonderful hickory smoked barbecue ribs. How about the Big Daddy barbecue sandwich? Those wings are underrated. They're one of the best in town. You'll find them there. How about those barbecue baked potatoes? Absolutely. Either location in
Back guarantee.
Text support to 511-511. Morning Kick. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very nice afternoon with a sunny sky, the high 61. Mostly fair tonight, the low 37. We stay dry tomorrow and Saturday. The sky partly to mostly sunny both days with mild afternoons. Highs between 65 and 68. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 60 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Where college football season never ends. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9.
This is big boy football.
And streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah. Some call me the gangster of love. Some people call me Maurice. Cause I speak of the pompatus of love. People talk about me, baby. Say I'm doing you wrong, doing you wrong.
3:30, we'll feature Joe Panunzio, who spent multiple different stints here at the University of Alabama in multiple different roles, whether it's a running backs coach, tight ends coach, special teams coordinator, director of football operations from 2011 to 2014. As an administrator, he won a national title here times two, won one as a coach. He was known as a right-hand person to Nick Saban, as well as Joe Pendry yesterday. We had Butch Jones on, which was also the football operations guy for a couple of years. We also had Pete Jenkins on. We also had Jim McElwain on, and we're going to continue that. We've got one other coach that we're going to feature tomorrow. Right now, we're going to talk with Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, the author, Bigger Than Bama. Bigger Than Bama. Also TITV, WVUH, Tuesday, 6:30 and 10:30 on the replay. Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, the editor, the founder. Hey, Rodney, I hope you're having an incredible day. Thank you for being a part of our show.
I'm doing well, Ryan. How are you?
Hey, good. Rodney, I've got a lot of different things that we want to talk about and dive into a couple different things here. As we approach next week for signing day, because I want to kind of put this behind us, is there anything else that Alabama fans should be watching for next Wednesday?
Well, no, I think right now, again, this with the new staff, you never know. They could have somebody that, they pull at the last minute. Somebody maybe that was originally committed to Washington maybe, or someone else they've recruited in the past. That could happen. I'm not ruling that out. But right now, what we know is we expect Ryan Williams to sign next week, whether it's on the 7th or if he waits till his birthday the 9th, whatever. Either way, he's fully expected to sign with Alabama. And then, of course, Noah Carter, who a lot of people maybe in this area aren't as familiar with, the 4-star outside linebacker. He also plays wide receiver in high school. He's from the Phoenix, Arizona area. He's a really fantastic player, Ryan. I mean, when you look at him, he was originally committed and signed with Washington in December, got out of his letter after DeBoer left, and now, visited here and committed last week. So he's a fantastic player. So those two are the guys. And then, of course, Quentin Reese, don't want to forget him. He's been committed for a while. He did not sign early. He will sign. He's an excellent prospect out of Ramsey High School up there. Just a guy that does a lot of things, makes a lot of plays. He's a little undersized, but you know what? He's just a football player.
Hey, I'm just now seeing this go across the screen, and you may have seen it before I did. Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator here at the University of Alabama, still not official, finalized. We haven't got any coaching announcements, so it's not just one coach. But he is also being considered, according to Pro Football Talk, as the Seahawks offensive coordinator. You have any reaction to that, Rodney?
Yeah, I saw that. Again, I that's really all I know is what you read there. I saw that I was sent that just a few minutes ago, right before we came on, and just mentioned him as on one hand, it kind of seemed like it was going to happen. On the other hand, it said he's under consideration. So I'm not really sure what their situation is up there. The way it was written kind of was it gave me mixed signals. So I don't really know if it's extremely serious or what, but it made it sound like maybe he would prefer to stay out in that part of the country. That's the way it was written. Now, I have no idea if that's the way it is, but that's the way it was written. So, I guess we'll see.
That would be a huge blow to the early part of this coaching side of things. I mean, because Ryan Grubb is a highly sought-after offensive mind.
Mm-hmm. Here's the good thing. This is what is valuable when you have a coach who has the expertise on one side of the ball like this. Is Kalen DeBoer is the genius behind it all, offensively.
Sure, absolutely.
And certainly Ryan Grubb does a great job. I mean, he certainly complements from the people I've spoken with, complements what DeBoer has brought to the table. They complement each other really well, and guess what? DeBoer can turn it over to him. He's got a lot of trust in him. So that certainly, as you said, Ryan, that would not be something that would be good, to lose your coordinator like that. But if you're going to lose him, if he's going to go, now might be a better time than later. You would certainly want to do it before spring practice, so you could, whether you promoted someone from within that's been with you, or if you brought someone else in that it'd just give you time to do that.
Anything that Kalen DeBoer said yesterday at the Senior Bowl that grabbed you, the way that I know the way that you listen and analyze different things, anything that he said that grabbed you yesterday in his appearance down at the Senior Bowl?
You know, Ryan, I have to be honest with you. I didn't get to listen to it thoroughly because I was wrapped up in some recruiting stuff yesterday and trying to track down some of these guys that are coming for the junior day. But is there anything?
Well, I'll tell you what, the one thing, Noah, do you have the quarterback isolated, the comment about the quarterbacks when he's talking about both Milroe and Austin Mack? It's kind of what they're going to be implementing. I think it was. I'll try to find it here in just a second. We've got several of those cut up. But one of the comments that he made, and this was a little bit odd. He highlighted two quarterbacks. Now we're still learning Kalen DeBoer, right? We knew Nick Saban, how he would talk through the media to his team, but he isolated two quarterbacks. He isolated Austin Mack from UW that transfers in, and he isolated Jalen Milroe. He did not mention Ty Simpson, did not mention Dylan Lonergan, and it was automatic like, okay, you're talking about your guy that's established, and you're talking about the guy that you're bringing in. And it just kind of grabbed me, I guess, in a different way. And I know it grabbed other people because here I've got the audio. Roddy, listen to it. Here is Kalen DeBoer talking about implementing the offensive direction that they will begin next week.
Yeah, from a staff standpoint, we're really looking forward to next week to being around our guys and spending a lot of time with the team, back on campus. But those that have come with us from Washington, there's certainly an understanding of, even the system, and what certain concepts are called and how we teach them. So hopefully back on campus, they're picking up on those things. Jalen with, Austin and as well as, having a center like Parker there knows all the calls, and we can hit the ground running here next week when it comes to installing offense and defensive systems.
Did you take anything from that, Rodney?
Here's what I've thought before I even heard that comment. In the past, I've thought, Ryan, that these guys coming in from Washington will bring a lot, even though they're new. They'll bring some experience and veteran kind of understanding to the rooms that they're in, whether it's Jeremy Bernard at wide receiver, Austin Mack at quarterback, Parker Brailsford on the offensive line. They know. I mean, this is the same offensive staff with the exception of Robert Gillespie at running back. This is the same staff that's been together for a while. These guys have played under those guys. So I think, I take from that and I think he kind of, like he said about the center with Brailsford, I think he would have probably said the same thing about Bernard at wide receiver, what they bring to their rooms, just in terms of the experience they've got, the understanding they've got of the system and all of those things, that they can be helpful to the other guys in the room. That's really the way I would take it. And maybe there's something else there that I don't know. I understand what you're saying about Nick Saban always seemed to be sending a message of some sort. I don't know that that's what he was really intending there. Just my take. Again, I think these guys from Washington can bring some things that, be helpful to the guys that have been here for a while.
All right, I just got a text message back from Seattle just a couple of minutes ago because I asked if he thought Ryan Grubb would be a chance to be the Seahawks offensive coordinator, and he said, I do. I do think that this is a real talk, that I don't think that it's just throwing it out there. But hey, you want your coaches, as you said a couple of minutes ago, you want your coaches to be wanted. You want the guys that you go after to be highly sought after. So I guess Ryan Williams was a big commitment last week. Now Kalen DeBoer's got more challenges. And welcome to Alabama, where they try to steal your coaches every couple of minutes here in Tuscaloosa. But Rodney, we want to spend a couple of minutes here visiting with you and ask you, when you look back at Nick Saban, because this week we featured coaches. We've got Joe Pedonzio, which we at 3:30. We had Joe Pendry on yesterday, and we just asked them to kind of help us understand Coach Saban. You were part of the process of writing the book. You included hiring of Nick Saban in your book. For one, no doubt, as you said, bigger than Bama, but I think it's a great illustration of that process of hiring a coach. And all we were hearing behind the scenes, certainly you were, as you were covering this coaching transition from Mike Shula to Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ryan, I think that's the greatest story I've ever certainly covered, been around. It was just so many different things. I think it was a time when Alabama fans were losing hope, to be honest with you. I heard it around town. I heard it, everywhere I went. And I felt it, from my fandom. just wondering if Alabama could, get it back. And, then the, kind of how the process went for me was it was shortly after the loss to Tennessee that year. I got a call that, asking me about what I would think about Nick Saban as the head coach, and then really didn't think about it. And then they lost to Mississippi State and got a call again. He said, I'm telling you, I think, Nick Saban might be a guy you watch because this may fall apart. And I reached out to a former Saban assistant coach and asked him what he thought about it. And he really didn't say a whole lot, but I could tell from the conversation that we had that he knew more about it. I had one of my sources reach out to him, and he opened up to him and admitted that, Nick Saban had told him he had real interest in the Alabama job if it came open. So I knew then, and this was probably by when they play at Mississippi State, probably, early November 8th, 7th, 8th, whatever it was. I can't remember the exact date, but of that year. But anyway, I knew by then, Ryan, that Nick Saban really had interest in Alabama based on what, this coach was saying. And, Gary Harris and I we had some contacts, and Gary had some old contacts that I found out might have had some information. That was what was interesting. I found out that Gary's contacts had information, and Gary reached out to this coach, and he was in the ACC at the time. And the coach was really frank with Gary. He said, look, and I didn't put this part in the book because this was really kind of Gary's thing, but he told Gary, he said, Saban's already reached out to me. And he told me if he gets the Alabama job, he would like to talk to me about coming with him. And this was, this was probably before Alabama even played LSU or shortly after they lost LSU that year. So they had another game to go against Auburn. So I knew right then, I said, there's some things really cooking behind the scenes here. And there were a lot of people that doubted it. There were a lot of people. But I remember, I guess one of the things that I got in the book that's really interesting, I don't want to destroy the whole book.
Sure. No. Hey, we want people to buy that. Bigger than Bam. And there's more than just this in there. This is more of a tease.
There's a ton more. Yeah, there's a ton more. But let me say this. I will say this, because I think this is something, and I've said this on your show before, so this isn't anything new. But, Ryan, it was the day before Rich Rodriguez. So it was December the 7th, 2006. The next day was going to be a Friday. And on that December the 8th, Rodriguez was supposed to tell his West Virginia team that he was going to Alabama. Well, the night before, December the 7th, Thursday night, I got a phone call from Jimmy Sexton's office. And I knew the guy. It's legit. I knew he was inside Sexton's office. I knew him. I knew his name. I'd talked to him before. Not a lot, but some. And he's like, look, we've been tracking your website. And he said, I know you've got more information than you've posted. And he said, I appreciate that you've kind of held back on some of the stuff. He said, because I can tell by the way you're posting information, you've got more. And he said, so I'm going to help you out off the record. And he said, Alabama's about to make the biggest mistake in college football history. I promise you, Ryan, that's exact words. And think about that. Think about that today, what he said. Alabama's about to make the biggest mistake in college football history. And I said, you mean by hiring Rodriguez? He said, I mean by not waiting on Nick. And I said, well, Alabama, I think, kind of feels that they could go down to the end with Nick Saban if he, waits until the season's over for the Dolphins. And then what if he decides he has a change of heart, he doesn't come? I said, some people think he's got a history of doing that. He's led teams to the altar or led programs, organizations to the altar before. And he said, no, he really hasn't. That's a misconception about him. And he said, I promise you, he wants the job. He said, but, if something falls through with Rodriguez, and he said, it doesn't look like it's going to, but if it does, Nick will still take it. Nick doesn't care if he looks like he's the second choice. He'll take it. And so the next morning, all ESPN and everyone at AL.com and, various ones, and rightfully so. I mean, it seemed like this was going to happen. They were reporting that Rodriguez was going to tell his team at 2:30 that afternoon that he was going to Alabama. Well, about 10 o'clock that morning, I get a phone call, and it's from the Sexton source again in his office, and he says, I've got great news for you. He said, Rodriguez is staying at West Virginia, and Nick's now the leading candidate. And I was like, wow. And he said, I want you to go on your website, and I just want you to simply post that Rodriguez is staying at West Virginia. Now, Ryan, that was a really tough deal to do.
I'm sweating for you, and it's been 17 years. So
yeah, I was really concerned about doing that because I knew it was a risk to go out there and say something against the grain. Look, ESPN's reporting it, but I went out there and I posted, I said, guys, I'm telling you, I've got a great source, and he tells me Rodriguez is staying at West Virginia. And my board erupted. Of course, some of them said, hey, get off the Saban bandwagon. He was never coming here. And I'm sweating this out. And about 30 minutes later, somebody posted, well, it looks like Rodney might be on to something. He said, ESPN's now reporting that sources close to West Virginia are saying that they're growing confident Rodriguez is staying at West Virginia. And I'm like, and then at 2:30, when he finally told his team that he was staying, it was a big relief on me. And, the source called me back and he said, look, I can't talk to you anymore. This is just something I can't do. But I tell you what, he said, if you don't hear from me until early January, everything's still on go for Nick Saban. He said, I think Alabama's going to offer him, the day or so after that last game against whoever they played. I can't remember, but it was their last game I think it was on either New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, whatever it was. But anyway, he said they'll offer him right after that. And he said, if I don't call you back, you'll know everything's on. And I go into details about, some more things about, everybody remembers that December 21st that year, Nick Saban was pressed after a Miami practice. One of the writers down there said, hey, why don't you just come out and say you're not going to Alabama? And Saban said, well, I guess I have to say it. I'm not going to be the Alabama coach or whatever. So I've got in the book details about that and, who I reached out to, and they assured me to not get worked up over that there was going to be a big press conference in Tuscaloosa in early January. It's going to make me and a lot of other people really happy. So anyway, I kind of go through all of that. I go through a lot of stuff with Mike Dubose, Mike Price, Franchione, Shula, all of that. So, yeah, a lot of coach talk in there, a lot of recruiting talk as well, and then, of course, the live story.
And it's bigger than Bama where you can find it. Rodney, how can people order it?
Yeah, well, we prefer that you order it from RodneyOrr.com, RodneyOrr.com. It's also on Amazon. You can find it there but again, we prefer RodneyOrr.com. And, people ask us about, are you going to put it in the bookstores? Well, we've kind of right now, we've held off on that. We may do that later. We've got the opportunities to do that, but right now we're just, you just have to place your order and, either on Amazon or again, RodneyOrr.com.
Yeah. We're reading more about this Ron Grubb. It seems like it's, kind of getting a little bit of traction out there with Ron Grubb, the offensive coordinator from the University of Alabama, could be targeted to go possibly back to UW, not as University of Washington, but Seattle Seahawks targeting him as the possible offensive coordinator. And we're going to continue to watch that. We've still got one vacancy to fill, and we're trying to figure exactly where that's going to be going from a lot of different directions. Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, the editor, the founder, the incredible website. Rodney, I appreciate you as always for being a part of our show. We're going to continue to follow all of your work at TiderInsider.com.
Ryan, I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Rodney.
14 included when you buy an extended Silver Unlimited plan. Find us at StraightTalk.com. For data management practices and additional terms, visit StraightTalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. Online only. Excludes taxes and fees.
The pharmacy at Midtown, TJ Thomas. He's the Nick Saban of pharmacists. And if your pharmacist doesn't have an Alabama shirt on, you don't want him. 205-752-0627. Sterile compounding facility, the only sterile compounding facility here in T-Town and West Alabama. All the compounding needs, the retail side. If you're looking for a pharmacy, many of those have closed here in West Alabama, and you're looking to transfer your prescriptions, PharmacyMidtown.com. PharmacyMidtown.com. Conveniently located right there at the back of Midtown. You'll find the pharmacy at Midtown, a huge part of our show.
The new sports radio revolution for West Alabama is here. Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. On the air, the app, the Echo, and that.com.
this Ryan Grubb story coming out of Seattle. Pro Football Talk is reporting that Ryan Grubb, that Seattle Seahawks are targeting him to be their OC there, and that's what you have to deal with. Mike Macdonald, the new offensive coordinator for Seattle, Pete Carroll going into a different role. Mike Macdonald as the offensive coordinator of the Seahawks, so he could be joining there. So anyway, we're trying to monitor that. I've got a couple of text messages out, and people are responded from out there. Multiple different people say, yes, I think he truly is a candidate. Ryan Grubb, I think it is fair to point out, he has been with Kalen DeBoer at a couple different stops, including Sioux Falls and also Fresno State and UW. So just kind of keep that in mind when you look at Ryan Grubb. And I think the option, if you're Ryan Grubb, you stay here. I mean, this is painting a broad brush. You stay here, you become a head coach. I mean, you stay here as an OC. You're not going there as an OC. Because the OC and the NFL is a different animal. I mean, even the good ones get chewed up and spit out pretty quick. So you look at Ryan Grubb, he could stay here and possibly be a head coach in the coming years. So you think about that at his age. I think he's around 47 years of age. So we will dive in a couple of different things. I know we're all reacting to this Brad Bohannon news. We've got Alabama beating Georgia to come from behind victory, scoring the points that they did in the second half. Was it 58 points? 58 points? Wow. Alabama laying it on the Dogs. Take that, Dogs. Take this. You got Kirby. How do we continue to keep Nate Oates happy? Is it simply building an arena? Is it giving him NIL money? Is it making sure that he's happy in a lot of different ways? We'll talk to Joe Panunzio coming up at 3:30. Right now it's Paul in Lincoln. Paul, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Hey, Ryan. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm just trying to follow all of this, around Ryan Grubb.
A lot to follow.
Yeah, I mean, very busy. But where do you want to start?
That would be a bummer if he takes that job. But Ryan, that's kind of the trend, isn't it? Didn't the head football coach at Boston College yesterday left to be the defensive coordinator of the Packers? I mean,
you're seeing that, yeah.
Yes, that happened. I believe it was yesterday. The head coach at Boston College, I can't remember the guy's name, but anyway,
nobody else can either, Paul. It's
the defensive coordinator job at the Packers. So, but I would certainly hate to see Grubb leave, especially when you haven't even seen a spring practice out of him. But come to think of it, Ryan, can you remember the last? And this just popped in my head. Can you remember the last Auburn head coach that was pursued by another
the police?
Power 5?
Oh, pursued. Okay, bye. Okay, I got you. Okay,
pursued.
Okay, I thought you were.
Well, I can name several of them.
Okay.
Pursued by another Power 5 school. I can't remember. I can't remember one. I really can't. And I'm going back to Pat Dye. I know there was some talk that Georgia was going to go after Pat Dye.
But is that because of their coaches? I mean, they always have to hire coaches. And really, if you think about Auburn, they have really done a poor, pitiful job of hiring top-tier coaches. And I don't know if it was competing against Nick Saban. I don't know if it was in the same state that you don't get the attention. But if you think, they never get their home run guy. They never. I mean, they went out and hired Charles Barkley. Not hired. They got Charles Barkley, Bo Jackson, Pat Dye, all these people to come together to hire one individual person. And
they came up with Gus Malzahn.
Yeah.
And then and then you get L. Ron Harsin. I'm not sure, where that. Well, that was because of Alan Green, I guess, his history with him. But then you go out and hire the pedophile. I mean, it's obviously to me that it tells me that really none of the guys they targeted would say yes. I think Hugh Hefner-Freeze was the default hire. I really do, because I mean, gosh, what an embarrassment to have him at the face of your program. But speaking of Coach Saban, Ryan, build the man a museum. Build him a museum. You cannot, and I've said this many times on this show, you cannot put a dollar value on what he's meant to the state of Alabama, the Tuscaloosa County, the Tuscaloosa City economy, the University of Alabama. There's not a dollar value you can put on it. He's worth anything that he gets. It's well worth it.
All right, but Paul, and Kirk McNair proposed this last week, and this is going to be a theme that we're going to ask because this entire week we're trying to pay tribute to Nick Saban, and maybe I've bored people to death with all these great coaches, but it's been kind of fun to listen to them tell stories. And Kirk McNair pointed out, he said, I don't think the Saban field is enough. It just doesn't seem significant for a guy that has won this many national titles and did what he was able to do. He said he thinks he needs to take Denny down and call it, Bryant Saban Stadium. Would you be opposed to that?
I wouldn't have no, of course not. Ryan, listen, we've got a historical history at Alabama as a program, as a school. But we're all going to die off one day, and what does everybody equate Alabama to right now? It's championships and Nick Saban. I wouldn't have a problem whatsoever. Bryant Saban Stadium, at Denny Field, if that's the route you go. But all props to Coach Saban. Dr. Witt said, everybody knows what Dr. Witt said. He said Nick Saban is the most important investment the University of Alabama has ever made. And I don't think he was just talking football. I think he was talking the entire, spectrum of the University of Alabama. Look at the campus, look at the city of Tuscaloosa. It's incredible, absolutely incredible what's transpired over the last 17 years. And if we're going to change the stadium name, Ryan, let's go ahead and change. Let's go ahead and kind of change up the uniform concepts a little bit. Since we're on a roll here, I would love to bring back the white helmet, Ryan. I'm telling you,
you're asking for a lot here. Okay.
Well, why not? Why not? And it's kind of a slow season a little bit per se. Let's just throw that out there too, Ryan. I remember, Coach Bryant introduced the white headgear. I'm going back as far as I can remember. It was probably there before I got there, or before I, became a fan. Coach Perkins brought it back. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be upset at all if they kind of changed it up a little bit. It's and I'm completely.
Now, Paul, I don't know, man. I've agreed with you all these years, man. I don't know. I don't know if I like this.
I would love. This is just me. It's just my opinion.
Okay, change it up a little bit.
I would love to see the white headgear. And not every, but just a couple times a year, a couple times a season. That's just me, But since we're talking about changes, I just thought I'd throw that in there. But that might spice up the collar boards to bring that up. By the way, Ryan, I am going to be invading the foothills of the Smokies tomorrow. I will be going up into the Smoky Mountains.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this challenge that it takes to go to the Tennessee Volunteers country?
Sure. Yes. Oh, yes. I actually like going up to East Tennessee. Beautiful part of the state. But I'm not sure how many encounters I'm going to have with some of the Dixie Stampede hillbillies up there. You can't never tell. But
are you going to the it's not called the Dixie Stampede anymore. That's
yeah, I know. That's how I remember it.
Yeah,
that's
me too. But
it's I'm sure it has.
I know,
to be
but you're not being politically correct. Dixie Stampede has been
exactly.
changed. It's yeah.
But
and that's so important. It really is. It just.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah,
of course it is. It's very important. But listen, Ryan, I have enjoyed these interviews with these coaches. I really have. I hadn't been able to call.
I've learned a lot from just the process of Joe Pendry. We love offensive line coach. We're going to talk to Joe Panunzio coming up at 3:30. Who's worked in a couple of different capacities and is known as an elite recruiter here at the University of Alabama. He was a guy that highly sought after when you talk about recruits. And
well, I certainly hope that Ryan Grubb stays at Alabama. I would love to see, his offense implemented with him making the play calls. But we've seen that trend though, Ryan, of college coaches going on to the pros, just because of the 24/7, 365 pace that you have to keep up with at the college level right now. So I would certainly hate to lose him, especially this early, but I guess that remains to be seen.
Paul, you've got a firestorm out here with this uniform stuff.
All right, did I? Well, that's kind of why I brought it up. Just kind of get some interest out there, and that's
here I am telling you to put Saban in front of Bryant in front of the stadium. It's Saban Bryant Stadium. I don't even think people even caught that. That's okay. I was trying to be slick, but I do think. I mean, listen, if you're, I know alphabetical. I get it. Bryant Saban sounds better, I guess. And the Denny family would just have to be mad at us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's 6 of one or half a dozen.
And we did this back in 1997. I mean, we rededicated the stadium. I mean, people don't. Yeah. I know for these new Alabama fans that just jumped on board a couple of.
Yeah. I think that was 98, wasn't it? They opened up with BYU.
It was BYU. I thought it was 97, but in 98, okay. Yeah. Either way.
I believe it was 98,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's 6 one, half dozen the other. I mean. And listen, I just remember kind of liking on occasion that we would wear the white helmet. I know we've done it. We did it at Vanderbilt a few times. We went to Baton Rouge one year, I think 1985 or 83 or 85. I think it was 83, and beat LSU down there in Perkins' first year and had the all white. I thought it was a pretty good look, but
no, I don't mind the helmets because that's a change, but I don't want any drastic. I didn't even like the houndstooth around the collar of the jersey and the sleeve. I think they had a couple of little things on the houndstooth. I didn't like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was 2010 or so, but yeah, it's just something to gives you something to talk about, and. So
there we go.
I would just throw that.
Well, it looks like this Ryan Grubb thing may be the topic of conversation, and I mean we haven't even touched Brad Bohannon. He got a 15-year show cause and a 5-year 100% suspension. Like somebody's going to hire him and suspend him for 5 seasons. So, Brad, you're going to be working at Para.
Well, I was going to say that or Amway. That may be the route to go.
Could be. It could be Amway might be an option, or maybe one of these. I mean, since you're such a pro gambler, maybe these websites can find a way to hire you as a consultant. I mean, maybe you could show.
There you go.
Or you could teach criminals how not to get busted. That might be an option too. But we're now seeing the NCAA. I mean, they're doing stuff to these coaches. I mean, a 15-year show cause. And listen, as much as I love Alabama, he did something very, very wrong. Paul, I got to run a break.
Oh, he did. That was really, really, really terrible what he did, and he's certainly going to pay for it. That's for sure.
Thank you, man. We appreciate that. Paul in Lincoln. We'll continue with more of the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
What if you could win $1,000?
It's always about the money.
And it only took you a minute to do it. It's happening on Fridays with the only legal betting app in Alabama. Bet U. To have a shot at the money, go to the iPhone App Store and download the Bet U app. That's bet and the letter U. Open your account, and you're officially in the running to win $1,000 this Friday.
Let's win.
Make sure you download the Bet U app in the App Store and open your account to be in to win it this Friday.
Thanks so much, guys.
Winners will be contacted on Friday.
From the get-go. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyland and Hargrove, TuscaloosaHyundai.com.
The longest running sports show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
I was lightning before the thunder. Feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Hey, we've got some Kalen DeBoer audio that we want to dive back into. There's a couple of different things. So we're asking the question, if you want to jump in, we'd love to have you. 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. If you want to jump in, we'd love to have you. 205-342-9904. Right here, Tuscaloosa, T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230, WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
In the nosebleeds.
What if you could win $1,000?
It's always about the money.
And it only took you a minute to do it. It's happening on Fridays with the only legal betting app in Alabama. Bet U. To have a shot at the money, go to the iPhone App Store and download the Bet U app. That's bet and the letter U. Open your account, and you're officially in the running to win $1,000 this Friday.
Let's win.
Make sure you download the Bet U app in the App Store and open your account to be in to win it this Friday.
Thanks so much, guys.
Winners will be contacted on Friday from our official betting app, Bet U, and Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
DanielMooreArt.com. As we celebrate special occasions, birthdays, anniversary, that Alabama fan in your life, it's DanielMooreArt.com. Christmas time upcoming. You want to celebrate that Alabama fan by visiting the website. All the great prints celebrating Heisman winners, great coaches. Nick Saban and Alabama's given us so many great moments to think about. And we talk about living rooms. Tua Tagovailoa, 2nd and 26. Devontae Smith, Heisman Heights, Mark Ingram, Bryce Young, Nick Saban, Coach Stallings, Coach Bryant. DanielMooreArt.com. Remember the code word, The Game, gets a significant discount. You got to put it in, The Game, significant discount, DanielMooreArt.com. And we would also...
or visit mezwins.com. I've got this.
No representations made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very nice afternoon with a sunny sky, the high 61. Mostly fair tonight, the low 37. We stay dry tomorrow and Saturday. The sky partly to mostly sunny both days with mild afternoons. Highs between 65 and 68. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 60 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Byer.
The Washington Commanders have named defensive coordinator Dan Quinn as their head coach. Now, The Athletic says the Commanders did have a conversation with former Patriots head coach Bill Belichick about their coaching vacancy, but in the end, it's Quinn who gets the job in Washington, as all jobs, head coaching jobs that is, in the NFL are now filled. Dan Quinn, the new head coach of the Commanders, after spending the last 3 years as the Cowboys defensive coordinator. Ravens have found their defensive coordinator. It comes in the form of linebackers coach Zach Orr, who was promoted to replace Mike Macdonald, who was introduced by the Seahawks today. Speaking of Macdonald.
The spirit of how we play and the principles of how we play, what you've seen on the tape in Baltimore will be the same, but I can't guarantee you the schematics will be the same here because we're not sure what we're good at yet.
No LeBron James or Anthony Davis for the Lakers tonight as they face the Celtics in Boston. Joel Embiid out for the Sixers against the Jazz, and Knicks forward Julius Randle will be reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks.
Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it.
She loves to laugh, she loves to sing, she does everything. She loves to move, she loves to groove, she loves a lot of things. All night, oh, every night. So hold tight, ooh baby, hold tight. Oh, she said, anyway you want it, that's
All right, we welcome you right back into the game here in Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Got a lot of phone calls that we're chiming in. We've been asking the question today, when you look back at Kirk McNair's comments last week on our show, talking the possibility of renaming Bryant-Denny Stadium and calling it Bryant-Saban Stadium. His rebuttal was that he didn't think that the field naming after Nick Saban would be significant enough. We'll take your phone calls. I know that was not the big conversation there, but we're doing a tribute this week. We're 1 hour into a Thursday afternoon show. We got 3 more hours to go. We'll take your phone calls coming up in just a couple of minutes at 205-342-9904. We'll go to AC in Bangladesh coming up in a couple of minutes. Blueberry Steve up in Montreal, Canada. Tommy out in Romulus. Joe Panunzio is going to join us coming up at 3:30. We'll have a chance to feature him. He is currently Philadelphia Eagles coach. We don't talk a lot about the NFL. We might talk about the differences when you think about coaching now, because you're seeing a lot of coaches. And Ryan Grubb being considered for the Seattle Seahawks offensive coordinator. That would be a huge blow to the University of Alabama. Kalen DeBoer's system, but Ryan Grubb's the offensive coordinator. We're trying to see exactly if there's any legs to this. We'll talk to Brad Powers coming up at 4 o'clock. I think you're going to want to pay very close attention to what Brad's got to say. We'll take phone calls right now. Let's go to AC in Bangladesh. AC, good afternoon. You're in the game. How are you?
I'm doing great. I called the other station in SEC. You know who I'm talking about. It's been a long time. How you feeling, man? Thanks so much for taking
Where have you been?
Busy at work. Of course, you're tied up with your schedule. I get it. You know, I called in. I get it. I don't complain.
Are you upset that Nick Saban retired a couple of weeks ago?
All right. Apologize.
Are you upset that Nick Saban retired a couple of weeks ago?
No, I'm not. It's a surprise. I'm not. I mean, it's a surprise to me. I mean, we knew this was coming, not that quick. But the thing is, they're trying to rename that stadium. I mean, let's face it. It should be Paul Feinbaum Stadium, and I can give you the reason. You want to know the reason?
Well, he graduated at Tennessee. He hates the University of Alabama, but he pretends to.
No, I get it. But the amount of promotion he gave out in his network, Alabama, Nick Saban, amount of time. Do you think anyone out there nationally talks about Alabama Crimson Tide as much as Mr. Paul Feinbaum? I don't think so. Not that I know of. Don't talk about Stephen A. Smith, because Stephen A. Smith doesn't know anything about college football.
So you think Paul talks Alabama Crimson Tide football more than anybody else?
Any national media. I'm not saying locally, because I don't know what's happening locally. National media, Mr. Feinbaum used to be on those Alabama
he's employed by the conference. Isn't that his job?
That's right. But when it comes to I'm talking about nationally. When it comes to ESPN, who talks about?
Hey, so you're in the shallow end of the pool. Would you like to come to the deeper end just for a couple of minutes? I mean,
I would love to. Do you want to swim with me? Come on, let's go. We can do this, bro.
I know this is a complicated story for you, but it's. I mean, let's get out of the baby pool and let's go into the deeper end, because the first minute and 55 seconds has been a non-quality call, kind of like right. Auburn.
Well, they're the losers, right? I mean, that's what you're trying to say. They're the losers.
So far, 2 minutes and 6 seconds in, I would think that this might be the loser call. But
let me ask you a question. Let's get into the topic. Well, who's their head coach now? Kalen DeBoer, that's his name?
Kalen DeBoer, yes. Are you a big fan?
Yeah, so, I mean, I like the guy, but what if, let's assume, okay, what if he wins 7 national championships for the Alabama Crimson Tide. What we going to do? 20 years from now, we're going to name that stadium after him? That's what we're going to do now? Am I making good sense now?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want,
well,
right?
okay, but I mean, I hear you. I mean, let's say if he goes on and doubles up what Nick Saban has done, yeah, why not? I mean, we could call it Bryant Saban DeBoer Stadium, sure. And whoever comes behind him, if they win 7 national titles, we'll do it to them too.
Well, how about let's put Mr. Fowler Stadium? I think it's a great idea, man.
Yeah, that's
your name is in there.
I mean, one more time, let's go back to the deep end of the pool, if you don't mind.
I don't mind swimming with you, but I'm trying to help you. But how about this, Mr. Fowler? What if that stadium is named after you, but you get 1% of promotion? You know, that money coming to your bank account. Hey,
well, I mean,
1%, right?
but I mean, listen. I mean, we're talking about feasibility. I mean, it's not very logic. I mean, but if you want to go back to the baby end of the pool, I'll put the floats on and go with you. It's a dumb idea.
It's not a dumb idea. Mr. Fowler's name should be in there too.
Now you're just trying to be funny, but I get it. So,
of course. No, let's go back to Saban Stadium, whatever. Sure, let's do it. No problem. But the thing is, you know, not everything lasts longer. So another guy wins. I mean,
heck, we could just rename the university after him. University of Saban.
Feel free. Nick Saban did so much.
It still might not be enough.
I'm sorry?
It still may not be enough.
That's right, because it changes every time. Like 20 years after, we might change it to something else. God knows what's going to happen. And people will forget Nick Saban Stadium. They're going to rely on the present. That's what happens, man. So it's just all about money. Let's put it this way. It's about the product. It's about the money. You and I, we know this, right? I mean, let's face it, you're dumb Americans. They don't know any of that. But you're the smart American that I know, I hope.
Oh, you would put me on you would put me on the smart category list?
Of course.
Well, thank you.
Hey, there's what? Absolutely. I said 90% of Americans are dumb. I said 90%. I did not say 100%, okay? So you are part of that 10%. Because if you are dumb, sir, you would not be working at your current job. Am I right or wrong?
I mean, I don't think this is a academically challenging.
It's not. They trained you. They know who they put in. They put Mr. Producer in there because they know Mr. Producer is smart.
And he's the smart one. He's the smart one, AC.
Of course. So probably you should become a producer, put the producer as a host. That works out perfectly. So that means your studio is going to gain more money and, hey, pay rates could go up. Hey, I'm a businessman, buddy. I'm a businessman. It's all about the money, right?
There we go. AC, appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much, sir. Holla.
Oh, thank you. Holla. What does that mean, holla? Like, back when I was back up in North Alabama, holla was like between down in the mountain. Like you went down in the holla. Is that what he's talking about?
No. I think it's just like, it's kind of like just saying like, see ya.
Well, I mean, we'd go out on the porch and you would yell and you could hear it throughout the hollow. I mean,
that's a hollow.
I thought that's what he said.
Oh, gosh. No, holla is like saying hello, not hollow, but the opposite of hello.
Okay. Blueberry Steve, maybe you can translate from Bangladesh to Montreal. Blueberry Steve, I hope all is well.
All is fine, and no, I can't translate. I can do French, but I can't do whatever no, sorry.
Holla.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm just trying to...
So, I was listening all week. Couldn't call in because of business calls and webinars and all that. But I listened in. And I remember on Monday, my friend Paul, when you asked about what moment Nick Saban stood out, and he said, and of course, that's what I would have said. The fact that Coach Saban decided to switch at halftime and put Tua in, I mean, to me that was emblematic of the coach's skill set, and not being afraid to do what has to be done in the moment. what can you do to honor the coach? I don't know. Yes, maybe naming the stadium, say Brian Saban Stadium, and maybe, as Paul said today, put up a museum for him. Who knows? But whatever.
Well, but you really need two museums. That's the thing. I mean, I think that the Bryant Museum covers a lot of different things, including a lot of this Nick Saban run. I don't know if. I mean, I guess you could build the Nick Saban wing on it.
Yeah. I mean,
so okay, all right. So if you took Denny off the stadium and you put Saban up there, would you be supportive of that?
I would, but I don't know how the fans of the previous Denny. I'm not like up here in Montreal, man. I'm not part. I'm a fan. I'm a diehard fan. I consider myself.
Well, I mean, you're still entitled to your opinion, regardless of where you're at, Blueberry Steve, and we respect that.
Right, but I don't know if I know enough about the history to comment. I mean, I would be very happy to go next year to when I come down to go to Bryant Saban Stadium. I would be. And you know what? The other thing is that to have the coach on hand for when they rededicate the name of the stadium, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Well,
just have
someone
him
just
acknowledge.
sent out on the app message. We have a chat box on our Tide 100.9 app, and it's a great way for the folks that are listening to communicate with us. One of them says that renaming the Walk of Champions, the Saban Walk of Champions. There are a lot of those that belongs to him. But it's still not, I mean, it's still not enough. It's just not enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I like what Kirk McNair said last week. And until he said it last week on our show, nobody had ever really brought it up. But when he said, I don't know if naming the field is significant enough.
Agreed. I think it would just be an awesome moment of recognition to Coach Saban to have, 100,000 screaming fans acknowledge him at the rededication of the stadium. I think that would be very cool. It would be an awesome moment.
Yes, it would be. It would be. Blueberry Steve, we're a couple of weeks into this Kalen DeBoer era. We may already be losing a coach. Hopefully not. But Ryan Grubb could be going to the NFL and going back to the University.
Yeah,
I keep saying
that.
University of Washington, the state of Washington.
I heard that. That would be a serious blow. And that won't affect the Ryan Williams commitment, will it?
No, I would. I say no. I would say possibly no, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't guess anybody can answer that except Ryan Williams.
Right. Well, we're hoping for that. He'll stick to his guns, Ryan Williams. We'd like to see him down in Tuscaloosa. And as you said last time we spoke, I'm happy to hear that you think and that other people smarter than me think that he will see the field in 2024, which will be cool. Very cool. One quick comment. Did I hear right? My friend Paul earlier say that he was heading to Knoxville this week?
Okay, so he was headed to Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, and that is right outside of Knoxville. It's the tourist town of the Great Smoky Mountains. And it's probably, an hour and 15, 20 minutes away from Knoxville. And so there's a lot of Tennessee folks up there. But he should be able to get some bragging rights in there because they've got a NCAA situation that's brewing up there. Blueberry Steve, I appreciate you, man.
All right, my friend. Roll Tide. Take care.
Roll Tide. We'll come back. We'll take Tommy and Romulus. We'll take Roy in Kansas. Joe Panunzio coming up 3:30 right here on the game. T-Town Tide 100.9 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
A Tuscaloosa bar is permanently closing after 20 years as an anchor of downtown's Temerson Square district, owners announced Wednesday. Alabama's Ross recovery specialists are celebrating the grand opening of a new community center for people with substance use disorders on 18th Street in Tuscaloosa. And the Alabama Crimson Tide remains on top of the SEC after the men's basketball team came back to beat Georgia in a second-half surge last night. For the rest of these stories and much more, get connected.
Necessary. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyland and Hargrove, TuscaloosaHyundai.com.
Pastor's Kitchen Mexican food right there in Northport. If you're looking for the great specials daily, the fajitas are outstanding. The pastor's dip, the appetizers, the fried ice cream, always a great option. It is Pastor's Kitchen Mexican food. Also find the food truck, and we are also now serving breakfast.
Your best bet for big wins is just minutes away at Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where you can be a winner too. Off I-459, exit 31 Derby Parkway.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very nice afternoon with a sunny sky, the high 61. Mostly fair tonight, the low 37. We stay dry tomorrow and Saturday. The sky partly to mostly sunny both days with mild afternoons. Highs between 65 and 68. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 60 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Eli Gold, Chris Stewart, and Roger Hoover live right here. Tide 100.9 is a proud partner of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
I'll let the moon shoot out the light. It's a small town Saturday night. It's a small town Saturday night. Lucy's got a lipstick on a little too bright. Bobby's getting drunk and looking for a fight.
We welcome you right back into the game. We're going to Joe Pedunzio coming up in a couple of minutes. He's currently Philadelphia Eagles special teams coordinator. He has been the director of football operations for the University of Alabama. He won 3 national titles here. 3 national titles. Let that sink in. 2 in 2011, 2012, 2 there, and then 2017. As an administrator. So he's been football operations director. He's coached running backs. He's coached tight ends. He was a special teams coordinator here at the University of Alabama. So we can understand a lot about Coach Saban. Joe Pedunzio coming up in just a couple of minutes. Let's continue, and we'll go to Tommy and Romulus. Tommy, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, Ron. How are you?
I'm good. I hope you are too.
I am. So if my current coach wins 7 national championship in 20 years, it'd be just rude to put another name on the stadium. I mean, what's the guy swimming in? He need to be in floaties, and they need to pull the plug in the back.
I mean, heck, if Kalen DeBoer wins 7 national titles, we'll just tear it down and rebuild the entire stadium.
That's right.
Because we'll probably have so much money, we'll be able to build anything like a dome out there.
Yeah.
We'll call it DeBoer Dome.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wins 7 national titles, I mean, that sounds pretty good. What do you think? I mean, think about all those early season games where it's triple digits. I like that.
I do, too. I mean,
air conditioning inside the dome.
Wow. You know, there need to be a lot of things needed, but we don't need to go overboard. I mean, I don't mean to be rude. He done it great, just like Coach Bryant came in a bad time. There's several things, there's scholarship, there's building, there's stadium, there's drop. Coach Saban is going to get his desserts, treats, and all his accolades he deserves. And so is Mitt Terry. I mean, name a bridge, name a high school, Tuscaloosa going. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity. But let's don't talk about it for 10 or 15 years. Don't let them pass away. Well, we should have done this back in, 2037, we should, but no, let's do it now. Like I said, we need to build a museum for him. I mean, man got 7 national championships, 6 at Alabama. I mean, 9 SEC titles at Alabama. I mean, man needs his building for a museum. I mean, it'd be a great tourist attraction for Tuscaloosa, and it'd be doing the positive.
Hey, Kalen DeBoer has officially arrived in the SEC. He took his first helicopter ride. Well, not his first, but he's out visiting recruits via a helicopter. That's the way you do it in the Southeastern Conference. Fair enough?
Fair enough. I mean, the quickest way you can get there, if you use a Star Trek way, I don't have a problem with it. Beam us aboard, Scotty. I mean,
so to go back, Tommy, I just want to, because you're one of the strongest historians as far as people that call in our show. You say that no problem. None.
No.
Bryant Saban Stadium, you wouldn't have a problem with it. If you look down at your ticket stub in 2025 and it said Bryant Saban Stadium, you wouldn't have a problem with it. Taking Denny off.
Problem. I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Okay.
You know what? President Denny got the sign named after him. He got other things. I mean, I don't think he's going to come back all the way from Virginia to visit up as a ghostly operation and fuss at people at Alabama. I mean, come on.
Is that where he's buried at, Tommy?
I think so.
Okay.
He's from Virginia.
Does he have any family in this area? I mean, have you ever heard of any family?
I don't think him and his wife had any children. I think he was a bachelor, or he didn't have no children. I don't.
See, this is only information that we could get from Tommy and Romulus. Nobody else could provide that.
No, I read a book on him. I mean, might need to reread it. Yeah. But it just, I mean, don't worry about how it's going to look. I mean, tell AC to put his little floaties on and pull the plug out of the bathtub. I don't want him to drown, okay? Really, I mean, or go to a sprinkler system and jump back and forth. Don't even get in the baby side of the pool. That's ridiculous. I mean, you honor people who is positive for your state and your school. Nick Saban, Coach Bryant, Coach Stallings have done all that and more. So remember that. I'm like, you know, it's going to be all right, people. We're going to treat him right. He's going to be remembered well. Nobody's going to forget Nick Saban. And just like nobody's going to forget Coach Bryant. So what is the big brouhaha about? Build a freaking museum and get it over with.
And really, there's probably the demand that you could probably build this times two. I mean, there's a lot.
Oh, sure. And I wouldn't be surprised one day, instead of the Bryant Conference Center, it'll be the Bryant Saban Conference Center. You can do so many things. I mean, it's just not one little thing. You can name 10th Avenue or whatever, Saban Boulevard. I mean, it would give a more of a historical flair to the city of Tuscaloosa. Everybody got a 10th Avenue. Everybody got a 15th Street in any city, a major city in the state of Alabama or across the nation. But everybody don't have a Bryant Drive or a Saban Drive. Keep that in mind. Have LSU named anything after him? He got the tradition started back up. Have they paid him homage? I don't think so. You know, let's do it before they wise up. Say, well, we ought to name something after Saban and get ahead of Alabama. No. Quit pussyfooting around and get it done. Get it done, as Larry Tabor, the cable guy said.
Tommy, would you get her done? Get her done. It's kind of like that holla. I mean, he said the holla. I mean, isn't that what you always know? I mean, you're a country bumpkin like I am.
We call it holla. We call it treats. We call it trick. We call it brooks.
I mean, I'm down in the holler out there in Coker, Alabama. I'm down in the holla.
That's right. Yeah.
I thought that's what he was talking about. He was like holla, because sometimes if you holler in the hollow, they can hear you louder.
Yeah.
You know, it echoes.
Yeah. But I mean,
anyway, all right, we're cutting up now. We're having too much fun.
I know we are. I mean, there's plenty of things to do to honor Coach Saban and Miss Terry. I mean, let's don't forget the other part of his greatness is Miss Terry. So I mean, you can name an elementary school after. I mean, there's 100 things to do. Really, it is.
Yep, I got you, Tommy. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Would you rather name something after them too than a politician?
And You got me started on another conversation.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I mean,
I don't enjoy seeing politicians named, buildings named after politicians. No, I hate it because it's Tommy and Romulus's money. It's Joe, the taxpayer's money. It's Sam, the taxpayer's money. It's, Rebecca, the taxpayer's money. It's that to me, I'm not really a big fan. I got to go to Joe Panunzio, Tommy.
Amen. Talk to you tomorrow.
We'll continue with more of the game. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
What if you could win $1,000?
Yeah! It's always about the money.
And it only took you a minute to do it. It's happening on Fridays with the only legal betting app in Alabama.
Yeah!
Bet You. To have a shot at the money, go to the iPhone App Store and download the Bet You app. That's bet and the letter U. Open your account, and you're officially in the running to win $1,000 this Friday.
Let's win.
Make sure you download the Bet You app in the App Store and open your account to be in to win it this Friday.
Thanks so much, guys.
Winners will be contacted on...
Puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Northport Power Equipment, if you're looking for chainsaw needs, if you're cleaning up those leaves or yard debris, you'll find the backpack blowers, the battery-operated tools, the Echo Outdoor Power Equipment, Crest Outdoor Power Equipment, the battery-operated tools by Husqvarna, and you'll also find great inventory on the zero-turn commercial and the residential mowers by both Skag and Husqvarna. Service department, do that.
Exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
A huge part of the game is SEC Parlay Pick Day on Friday. It's made possible by Brian Harden Construction, a diverse business, crane and equipment rentals up to 320-ton cranes available, the CNC machines, reverse engineering, laser cutting, specialists in modern construction. It's bhardenconst.com. Experience you can count on. Let's build something together. The website, very informative. It is bhardenconst.com. Brian Harden Construction, industrial contractors and fabrication, I-beam installation, Brian Harden Construction. Every Friday made possible by Brian Harden Construction.
The Game with Ryan Fowler, powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Say some vows and spread their wings and settle down just
I may ask Coach Panunzio because he was known as an elite recruiter. We're looking at this helicopter landing a couple of minutes ago down in Florida with Kalen DeBoer on it. I'll be curious if Coach Panunzio has ever landed a helicopter to recruit, because he was known as an elite recruiter here at the University of Alabama. He is currently in the National Football League. He works for the Philadelphia Eagles. He has been with the University of Alabama. He walked out of here winning a lot of jewelry, 3 national titles, a lot of SEC titles. Coach Panunzio, I hope you're having a great day, sir. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Thank you, Ryan. It's good to be back here. Whenever I get some time off from Philadelphia, I always come back here. I have my 2 daughters and my 3 grandkids, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm happy to be back here for a little bit before we get back, right before the combine.
Now, is Popo duty harder than coaching in the NFL? I mean, is it? Can you coach them the same way that you do those players in Philadelphia?
No, it's a little bit different with that. I never was able to coach my own kids, even my son. I think that would have been the hardest thing for me ever. So I was smart enough to stay away from that task.
But I mean, that's got to be pretty cool, though. I mean, as grandkids, their grandfathers coaching the National Football League. I mean, to me, that would be. I mean, that'd be like a cool pawpaw. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, that.
Yeah. It's there's a lot of benefits that they get from it.
Sure.
They get to come and they get to see Devontae and Jalen, and they saw them when they were here at Alabama, so they always spend time with them. So they get that part of it. But the bad part of it is I'm not here in their life. Like my grandfather was in my life every day. So you kind of, you trade one for the other.
You know, you mentioned Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith. You think about Landon Dickerson for his time in Tuscaloosa. I mean, it's like when you play on Sunday, it's all the Alabama guys. They're everywhere. I mean, they're all across the league. It's pretty awesome to see that.
Yeah, it's incredible. And for us, what we've done at Philadelphia, we have 7 Alabama kids that are on our team now. And then we probably have 5 or 6 Georgia kids. So the thing we're trying to do, is get people that know what the standard is, know what it's supposed to look like, and our SEC kids that football is just a little bit more important to them. And that has helped us. Now, at the end of the season, we kind of ran into a snag. We got to get that fixed next year. But we're looking forward to what lies ahead of us.
Coach, because Coach Saban has kind of identified, he said, the smack talk in the locker room is like another level in the NFL. You put those Georgia and Alabama guys in the same locker room. I mean, do you ever have to separate any of those SEC debates?
It's really kind of the opposite. They're Kirby was here for so long, so those guys have come out of the same program, and it's almost everybody else in the locker room against Georgia and Alabama. They all wished that they were Alabama and Georgia, so they had to do what Alabama. It's like you want to be a beast until you have to do beastly things. Well, they don't understand all the things that Alabama players had to go through and all the Georgia kids had to go through to create the value that they have and the greatness that they have in terms of being athletic. But not only athletic, they're great kids, and so they're jealous of that, and they would like to be that, but they didn't have the luxury of going to Alabama and going to Georgia to play in those big games that we all were so fortunate to be a part of.
But, you add that to it because you look at the NFL. When you get an Alabama player or a Georgia player, are they different? Are they cut from a different cloth? Do you have to do a little something different with them as far as the way that you approach them because of – I mean, you got quality coaches all over college football. I'm not saying that, but I mean, when you come through Alabama, Georgia, it's a different type of player.
Yeah. To be honest with you, it's easier to coach them. It's easier to work with them. They know what it looks like. They know what the standard is. And like the end of the year when we weren't playing good, Devontae and Jalen, I mean, they're despondent. It means something to them. It means a little bit more because they're used to playing in big games, playing in Super Bowls as we did last year, and they're not all right with just being average. They want to be elite, and that comes from being in the programs like the Alabama and the Georgias that are out there.
Coach, I want to spend this time, and I don't want to box you into any question here. We're talking with Joe Panunzio, which has spent time multiple times here in the University of Alabama. He's been on the field as a running backs coach, a tight ends coach, a special teams coordinator. You've also been director of football operations. You know the different inner workings. When you think about Coach Saban's system, what do you think about when you think about what has allowed him to have this success when you think about Coach Saban?
Well, I mean, for me, first off, I think everybody that's been a part of his program, player or coach, we wouldn't be where we are today without him. He taught us what it's supposed to be like, what it's supposed to look like, and he made us better coaches. He made us better players, but most of all, he made us better people. And he didn't let anything slide that wasn't a standard to be great. And he pushed us to that. And he not only pushed us, he pushed himself to that. And the one thing I would say about him is everything that he had us do, he did it himself and then some. I mean, I can remember my first spring here. It just opened my eyes to like what a person he was. Not only a great coach, he didn't win by accident, but that spring we had the tornado that hit, and the way that he handled our players, and then the way he handled the community, and what he did, and he did so many things behind the scenes with the tornado to help the people that needed help. I mean, it almost made you want to cry. Like I want to be a person like he is. And it was much more than football to him. It was doing things the right way and being about the community and making this a special place. And it became that because of him, in my opinion.
How did he sell you on becoming a part of this University of Alabama coaching staff?
Well, I mean, it wasn't that hard. I was coaching at the University of Miami, and he was at the Dolphins. He'd already won at LSU, and you could tell that he was building something big. And then he came to Alabama, and we had to recruit against him. And you could see the way he recruited. And in my opinion, that first year he landed Julio Jones. And when he landed Julio Jones, that sent a shockwave throughout the Southeast, and it was a mark like Alabama is going to be back. But the one thing after I was in the program that I, you don't really know it until you get in it, but it never was about Coach Saban, and it never was about wins and losses. What it was about was everybody playing for each other and bringing value to each other. And the other thing I really respected for him, he always understood what Coach Bryant had built here, and it never was bigger than any of that. what Coach Bryant had built was something that was very, very unique and very special, and we wanted to live up to that standard if we could. And he pushed us every day to do that, and it was in all marks of what he did. I mean, and you could just even like the referee, and now in the National Football League, I would say every week, there's a guy that came out of the SEC, and the first thing when they see me, they start smiling. If you talk to Coach Saban, even the referees love Coach Saban. And if you could sit there the day before the game or the day of the game, and Coach Saban would go through each referee, what they called, how they called it, he scouted the referees. He knew what they were going to call, and I mean, he never left a stone unturned. I've never been around a coach that do things like that. It was incredible, the amount of detail that he would go to make sure that we had a chance to play at the very best level we could play at.
Coach, you were known as an elite recruiter. Was that something you just embraced? Did you enjoy going in a living room and talking to parents and convincing a young man, hey, this is wherever it was? I mean, Miami, Alabama, you're able to convince them, hey, follow me. I'm trying to recruit you. Did you enjoy that?
I mean, I've never heard of myself being an elite recruiter, but I'll say this. I was a lot better elite recruiter at Miami and at Alabama than I was when I was at the University of Kansas back when we were 1-10. So being at Alabama, the chance to recruit the very best players in the country, and of course to have Coach Saban. There's another thing about him. There is not a day that goes by when he was coaching 365 days a year that he didn't work at recruiting. I can remember one Christmas Day we had a meeting, and he talked about how he evaluated 10 kids on Christmas Eve. Like, my wife would have killed me, and I mean, it never stopped. And he knew it was always about players, and it was always about getting the very best players. Not only players, but he looked into the person that he was recruiting, because he knew that to survive and to be what Alabama was, they had to be special people, not only special athletes. And then he did a great job of evaluating and working his way through all the things that you have to do to find out how good a kid he is and how good an athlete they were. And he very rarely missed on any of those kids.
Tom Lemming, which is to me the grandfather of recruiting, he's been covering it longer than everybody. I mean, 45 years in the business. I know Mike Farrell's up there in the 40s as well. And both of them came on and talked about Coach Saban, and he said he's the greatest recruiter in the history of college sports. He said that's Coach K, that is Roy Williams. He said you can go to all these different coaches, and regardless of sport, he said Coach Saban is the greatest recruiter we've ever seen. And it's the catalyst for his program.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is look at how many first-round players he produced here at Alabama. And you know, everybody could say you could recruit these five-star athletes, but not only did he recruit them, but he developed them. And then the thing that he did that nobody else has been able to do, he's been able to sustain this at a level for the whole time he's been here. Like, I mean, even Clemson had a run there for a while, and they've fallen off. Michigan has a little one now, and it's fallen off. And to be able to sustain and to keep it at this level, it's incredible. But he knew it was through players and coaches. And I'll say this, too. Like, he went through a lot of coaches. So, you know, there was a lot of players that came through here that were first-rounders. There's a lot of coaches that came through here. There's one thing that stayed consistent. It was him, and they continued to win. And it taught all of us that if you want to be something special, you got to put the work in. You got to be detailed at what you do, but you got to hold yourself to a standard that is like no other.
You know, I remember asking Coach Saban a question during an interview, and I was interviewing him, a sit-down interview, and I thought, man, I've prepared for the question. I thought, okay, I'm going to ask this question because I wanted him to look back at these championships and say, you know, do you realize what you've done? I mean, he literally flipped the script of my alma mater. I mean, I watched this place struggle for many, many years, and then he came in and won those, and I asked him about the championships, and he goes, well, how about the teams that didn't win a national title? Can you talk about those? And I was like, Coach, I mean, it's so programmed, and it was fun, but he challenged me. He's like, well, how about the teams that didn't win a national title? And I was like, yes, sir, absolutely. But, I mean, it's almost like he never looks back. The failure is, or the losses are what motivates him.
Yeah, I would say that, but I think what motivated him more than any of it, it never was about himself. It was always about developing and bringing value to his coaches and players, and making them better people and players, coaches at the end of the day, because he touched them. And when you saw him at his very happiest and finest was when one of us or some player did something that elevated him to a level that they couldn't get by themselves. I think that's the thing that he always was pushing all of us to do. It wasn't the wins and the losses. It was working and playing to the very best ability that you have in your body and your soul. and bringing the very best of you out. And there's never been a coach that I've been around that's even close to the amount of detail and the amount of caring that he has to push you to that. And I'll be honest with you, some of it wasn't very comfortable because you're trying to do something that's very rare, but he was always there pushing you and helping you get there. And it wasn't in a bad way. It was a way that you knew he cared about you and he wanted you to become that.
What were those staff meetings like? Because I hear so much about those staff meetings and the amount of material that's covered. I don't know how long they typically are, an hour, 45 minutes, whatever they are. It seemed to be very comprehensive as you're kind of identifying that now.
Well, I mean, every day was a different one. Again, another one. No, I've never been a part of this. Every Thursday for about 45 minutes, we went through every kid on our team, on our roster, and it was nothing but academics. And we had the academic people in how many classes they went to, what they did on their tests, what we need to do, how they get to get their tests better, and how we were going to get them to graduate. Every Thursday for the entire year. That's what that from 11 to 11:45, or however long it took, and that's what it was going to be. And you know, a lot of times kids were doing good, but when the kid was doing bad, it wasn't like he was going to sit him in the corner. How are we going to get that changed? How are we going to get him motivated? How are we going to do that? I mean, how many coaches just care about wins and losses? What doesn't get told about him, he probably graduated a percentage of players higher than anybody probably in college football because he cared about the kids, and that's what made it different too.
Coach, when you authentically care about a kid, whether it's now in the NFL, whether it was here at Alabama, do you get more out of that kid when he knows that the coach cares about him authentically?
Yeah, I mean, that's kids nowadays. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, they're better, but they don't have. They're in this technical world and texting, and they don't have interactions. They're just dying to have that. That's all they want. And as long as you do that, and you do it in a way that they know you care about them, then that sets the whole thing apart. And really, that's what coaching and probably life is all about. Trying to make all of us better, or the people that are around us. And he did that every day that he coached.
Coach, is there a story that stands above the rest when you think about a memory that you'll share with those grandkids or maybe with family of spending time with Coach Saban? I know you've shared quite a few of those, but is there one story that you could share with us as you recall your days working with Coach Saban?
Well, I mean, one of them to me was he was always trying to help kids, and when they would run into trouble or they would have tough times, and I was always around I always got to handle the kids that were always in trouble a little bit or whatever. And one of the kids, I'd had enough. I was like, Coach, we got to run. We had enough. And he looked at me and says, we can't quit on that kid. What's going to happen to him? What's he going to be the rest of his life? We got to give him another chance, and we got to find a way. And I'm looking at him like, there is no way. Like, I don't know how this kid's ever going to amount to something. Shit, that guy, that kid that he was talking about, he went on to do great things in the NFL. And to this day, he's a father. He's married. I mean, he was so right, and I was so wrong. And so the one thing he taught me is never give up on these kids or people or a person or anybody. If you just keep trying to battle, keep trying to find a way, you could change their lives and you can make them different. And every kid wants to be successful. You got to help them find what that is for them to be successful. And he did that better than anybody I've ever been around.
You know, when you think about it, and I've been in a lot of media availabilities, Coach, he would share stories, like let's say a player would get in a little bit of trouble and he would have the, generic statement, hey, we're going to handle it internally, we're going to do this. And then it'd be a follow-up. And probably some of the maddest I've ever seen him in those media rooms is when he says, do you want me to throw my kid out to the streets? What do you want me to do? I mean, it's like, don't we punish our kids, but we also want to lift him up. I mean, I saw that. I mean, it was authentic. And I remember sitting on the front row and I'm like, he truly cares about these kids. This is not just coach talk. He truly cares about these young men.
Yeah, and he never gave up on them. And he turned so many of them around and made them, man, all of us have those days too. You in there, look at you, it'd kill you if you didn't do what you were supposed to do. And it was like, all right, I got to get this right. But I could, a number of kids that he helped and he stayed with and he made them what they are today. It's incredible.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think about Musa Muhammad at Michigan State. He shared that story with us many times. He said, the whole entire community wanted to kick him off the team. He said, what would I have done? Throw him to the streets? Okay, what would he have done? Now he's a president, a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. He said his two kids went to Ivy League. He said, I could have destroyed all that back at Michigan State just by kicking him off the football team. I didn't do that. I went against the grain. So
yeah, and I mean, the day that I walk into that Philadelphia Eagle in the NFL and building, and I say to myself, I'm so grateful that I had the upbringing of being with Coach for 6 years. He changed my life. He made me a better person, a better coach, and a better husband, and I'll be forever indebted to him.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you for what you mean to the University of Alabama. When you come here, you coach here, you play here. We salute you for what you mean. You walked out of here winning 3 national titles in several different capacities. We thank you for helping us honor Coach Saban. We're trying to spend a little time talking with those former coaches, and we've done it all week, and we appreciate you for being a part of our show.
Ryan, thank you. And I know I live in Philadelphia, and I love Philadelphia, but there ain't no better place in the world than Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And whenever they get smart and fire me, I'm coming back here, and this is where I'll be. There's not a better place than Tuscaloosa. So thank you for holding the torch.
Hopefully your golf
let's
game.
Let's get behind our new coach, and let's get this thing going, and maybe we could keep this thing. Maybe we could carry this thing on a little bit longer.
Do you know anybody on the coaching staff with Kalen DeBoer? I mean, do you know any of those guys? I mean, I know you've.
Well, yeah, you got Fred. You got Freddie still on it, right?
Sure,
and
sure.
Then a bunch of the support people. Jeff Allen. There's so many people up there that are behind the scenes that nobody. Jeff Allen, the trainer. Everybody in the NFL has tried to hire Jeff Allen as a trainer in the NFL. He's the best trainer in the world. He's there. Alice Ponders, the DFO there. What he's done and how he's done that has been unbelievably great. Jeff Springer, the equipment guy. I mean, those guys, they've been here through all of it, and nobody even hears their names. But as good as Coach Saban was, he was smart enough to hire great people. Those guys in them support roles are incredible in the job that they do. And I mean, the list goes on and on. Matt Self on the compliance side, that guy, I mean, they do so much. And when I first got here, Mel Moore and Finest Gaston, without those guys, oh, man, they started to carry the torch and got to that. So there's so many people that have been a part of all of this. And Coach Saban was so smart to put all those people together and let them shine and help them become better at their job, too.
Coach, thank you again for your time. I hope you enjoy your stay. I know it's kind of a little bit of a downtime in the NFL. Appreciate you giving me a couple of minutes of spending time with your family, talk about Coach Saban. Thank you.
Hey, Ryan, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. Joe Panunzio, right here at the University of Alabama, coaching
are in the running to win this Friday. $1,000. Just download the BetU app right now in the App Store and sign up for an account for your shot at winning.
TuscaloosaToyota.com, a huge part of our show. We are powered by those guys every single day. The service department, always great. The new inventory side, all those new Toyotas comes with that lifetime powertrain warranty. And right now, we have the most inventory that we've had in over 2.5 years. Camrys, Corollas, RAV4s, Highlanders, 4Runners, Tundras, Tacomas, also the pre-owned inventory. Most of the pre-owned inventory.
That's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyland and Hargrove, TuscaloosaHyundai.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very nice afternoon with a sunny sky, the high 61. Mostly fair tonight, the low 37. We stay dry tomorrow and Saturday. The sky partly to mostly sunny both days with mild afternoons. Highs between 65 and 68. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 60 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
The new sports radio revolution for West Alabama is here. Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. On the air, the app, the Echo, and that.com.
Work all week long, punching that clock dust till dawn, counting the days till Friday night. That's when all the conditions are right for a good time. I need a good time.
All right, let's continue with more phone calls. Ron Grubb being considered up in Seattle as an offensive coordinator vacancy at the Seattle Seahawks. We're going to monitor that, and you want your coaches to be wanted, right? You want your coaches to be wanted. Joe Panunzio knocked it out of the park a couple of minutes ago, and I feel like anytime we can pull back that curtain just a little bit, not that they're going to reveal all the secrets, but you learn a little bit about it, right? We've did that all week. We've talked to coaches who have worked with Coach Saban, whether it was Coach Pete Jenkins, whether it was Jim McElwain, Joe Pendry, Butch Jones. We also had a chance to feature Joe Panunzio. We've got one more. So we had 5 coaches so far, and we're going to feature one more tomorrow. We'll continue. Let's go to Roy in Kansas. Roy, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm good. I hope you are too. Hope you're enjoying these shows.
No, I dissecting them, and most of the people you have on are just so good. I just had a quick question about this Bangladesh guy. Has he called you before?
Yeah, AC in Bangladesh who calls? Yeah, he has.
Okay, so you know what he's about. All right, I just
see. I know you. You know, you've been with us for a few weeks. You started listening with. I know when we had Nick Saban retire, and then Caleb DeBoer got on the ground, and you've shared that story with us. Yeah, AC in Bangladesh is one of our dumber callers, to be honest with you.
Well, he's.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm just being honest. I mean, Noah said I was being mean. I'm just being honest.
No, I was going to say worse things if you didn't know who he was, because he really tries to stir things up at places, and he hates America. And he'll say he's from Canada. He'll say he's from somewhere else, and Bangladesh. So, but anyhow, I just really appreciate your show. Yeah, I really do. Me too. But appreciate your shows. The one thing I would suggest is that I think what we should do is that if we're going to do a separate museum, that there's a statue of Miss Terry and Coach Saban in front of it, because I think that, they've been working together as a team for a while. I think there should be some acknowledgement of that, and so far as the stadium's name, that would be fine and dandy. But anyway, thank you. And I keep listening because you just bring such quality people on, and I keep learning more. And then also,
and I know the players, I know the coaches have knocked it out of the park. We are working on a long list of players that are also going to be a part of our show in the coming weeks. We're going to do a lot of that next week. I know we've got signing day that we'll have to focus a lot of our attention on coming up next Wednesday as Alabama tries to add to these pieces of the puzzle. But we're also going to feature some great players too. So just pay close attention and probably some guys that you've heard from, but there'll also be some guys in there that you haven't heard from that I think have got some really good, awesome stories.
Well, that sounds great, and I appreciate your show. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Roy in Kansas. We're going to go to Brad Powers coming up in just a couple of minutes, and then when we finish up with Brad, we're going to be wide open all the way until 6 p.m. Wayne in Northport, Jared in Dallas, Texas, right here on the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Byer.
The Washington Commanders are hiring Dan Quinn as their new head coach. Quinn comes over from the Dallas Cowboys, where he spent the last 3 seasons as their defensive coordinator. Quinn also the head coach of the Falcons when they went to the Super Bowl 7 years ago when they fell to the Patriots in Super Bowl 51. The Chargers today introduced Jim Harbaugh as their new head coach.
Want to win the right way, want to treat people in a first-class way, get really good at football, attacking each day.
The Seahawks introduced Mike McDonald as their head coach to replace McDonald in Baltimore. The Ravens are promoting linebackers coach Zach Orr to be their defensive coordinator. Knicks forward Julius Randle will be reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks because of a shoulder injury. No LeBron James or Anthony Davis for the Lakers tonight in Boston, and Joel Embiid is out for the Sixers as they face the Jazz. In golf at Pebble Beach, Patrick Cantlay leads at 6 under par. Ricky Fowler 1 shot back. Justin Thomas is currently 2 shots back at -4.
What if you could win $1,000?
Yeah! It's always about the money.
And it only took you a minute to do it. It's happening on Fridays with the only legal betting app in Alabama.
Yeah!
BetU. To have a shot at the money, go to the iPhone App Store and download the BetU app. That's bet and the letter U. Open your account, and you're officially in the running to win $1,000 this Friday.
Let's win.
Make sure you download the BetU app in the App Store and open your account to be in to win it this Friday.
Thanks so much, guys.
Winners will be contacted on Friday from our official betting app, BetU, and Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
On the next Inside the Locker Room with Coach Wimp Sanderson and Barry Sanderson.
Tune in Friday. We'll break down SEC basketball. We'll look at Alabama's lead in the conference. We'll break down the Mississippi State game on Saturday night at 7:30, which is a sellout. So congratulations to the Alabama fans. This will create an unbelievable environment. We'll be with you tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
Inside the Locker Room, weekdays 7 to 9 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com.
You know, we talk about grilling so often. If you want to dominate the grill today or any day, go visit our friends at Mark's Mark in downtown Northport. I walk in there all the time. There's new things added, whether you're trying to amp up the spice cabinet or whether you're going in for a great ribeye, a salmon swirl, a chicken swirl, that's what they're home of since 1978. The seafood entrees, the great cheesecake, the great pies that are made here locally in Alabama, the Blue Spring Living Water. You'll find it at
Wrap-Up Show with Hunter Johnson. It's the Tide Basketball Postgame Show, brought to you by Pritchett Moore Insurance, Tuscaloosa's best choice for business and personal insurance for 90 years.
Here on Tide 100.9. We're 2 hours in, 2 hours to go. We had Joe Panunzio on a couple of minutes ago. He coaches the Philadelphia Eagles. What a great storyteller. That was a ton of fun.
A lot of good sound bites in there.
Yeah, I mean, when he talked about Coach Saban, the way he talked about his players and talked about how he would take up for his players, those were just some great stories there. Kalen DeBoer down touring, recruiting his butt off. I mean, guys, have you seen the photos? I mean, we need to get like a map and track him. And now he's down in Florida with a helicopter landing to see Rivals 100 quarterback Elijah Melendez. So there it is. So recruiting Ryan Grubb, possibly being looked at the Seattle Seahawks. Right now, we're going to Brad Powers, which is one of our expertise. He's a professional handicapper, but he loves college football, and we're going to talk about Kalen DeBoer a lot more. Brad Powers, there's a lot of things that have happened in Tuscaloosa since we last spoke. I hope all is well.
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, obviously, you have an all-time great, the greatest of all time, decides to retire. A little bit shocking at the timing, but yeah, I'm not stunned that, it definitely was going to happen here relatively soon, especially with all the changes in college football. But I thought Alabama moved swiftly. I thought they made a really good hire, and I know a lot of people were thinking, no ties to the SEC. Kalen DeBoer doesn't have any, but I just go back to the fact that the guy can coach. And I know a lot of people, maybe prefer to Dan Lanning or Sarkisian or maybe even a Lane Kiffin. But reality of the fact is, he faced Sarkisian and Dan Lanning 5 times in 2 years at Washington. And, everyone knows that he went 5-0, but he was an underdog in all 5 games and won all 5. A guy that inherited a Washington program that went 4-8 the year prior and goes 25-3. So I think Alabama did about as well as anybody could have hoped, getting a guy like Kalen DeBoer. And future will be bright now. Is the future bright in 2024? I think there's still a lot of uncertainty. I'm guessing preseason expectations will be the lowest for Alabama football in probably 15-plus years. But doesn't mean that even if he has, a not ideal first season, I think he'll be just fine when it's all said and done.
The more I learn about Kalen DeBoer, the more I like him. We've talked to media people out in Seattle. We talked to people in Fresno. We talked to people in South Dakota that covered him. A lot of fun to be able to kind of explain that. But in your opinion, the way that you analyze college football, what is it that because you pointed out the win-loss total before he arrived at UW, then the wins that he was able to do, what makes him successful in your opinion?
Well, I think it starts on his expertise, which comes on the offensive side of the ball. He's certainly top 5 offensive coach, and I could make a case that he might be the best offensive coach out there. He doesn't have the fanfare as a Lane Kiffin or a Steve Sarkisian, but reality is, I mean, his concepts are pretty complex as far as compared to what you see typically from. He does just a lot more creative play calling than what you typically see across Power 5 football. Now, he gets it. Obviously, he makes it simple enough for his players. I mean, he wins wherever he goes. And he usually inherits not great situations. They win immediately. And then as soon as he leaves, there's a drop-off. I mean, look no further than Indiana. When you saw their rise, Kalen DeBoer was there and laid the foundation for Michael Penix in that offense. He leaves. Tom Allen, the head coach, is fired within a few years. After a historic season just a few years prior. Fresno State won immediately. I mean, Jake Haener was a great quarterback for him. I know he's had great quarterback play, but a lot of it is his offense creates great quarterback play. So, I mean, it's an offensive-driven sport, and when your forte is on the offense side of the ball and you're elite at it, I mean, that makes you a great coach. But I also think he's a good human being. I'm not sure you could say that about a lot of guys at the top of that profession. So, I think that also helps, and that's why a lot of people are starting to gravitate towards him. And then you combine that, Ryan Grubb was targeted last year by Nick Saban to come in as his offensive coordinator. He was probably the number one guy, and then he went back to UW, and then Alabama had to go to Tommy Rees, which I don't know what order he was in the pecking order, but he was not number one. Ryan Grubb was. So it's kind of an endorsement for Nick Saban on the Kalen DeBoer system a year ago. Yeah, I mean, before any of this went down, and obviously Saban knows a thing or two about football. So the fact that that offensive system was something that he thought was good enough and that he identified was a priority and liked what he saw says all you need to say. Hopefully they can hold on to Ryan Grubb. I know there's some news breaking today about the possibility of interest there in Seattle. I tweeted yesterday, hey, look, I think when given that, and this didn't necessarily have to deal with Ryan Grubb, but the situation of being a lot of college coaches probably being a little bit more interested in the NFL now more than usual. Just but obviously the situation at college football as far as recruiting and all that on your plate. So hopefully, I mean, for Alabama's sake, they can hold on to Ryan Grubb because I think obviously he's been the right-hand man for Kalen DeBoer in multiple spots. Yeah, and we're kind of studying this coaching staff, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but Coach Saban's coaching staff in the last couple of years have not been some of his stronger classes, and maybe that was just because 7 out of the 10 assistant coaches got promoted to head coaching jobs. You're not seeing a ton of that here in the last couple of years. Maybe this coaching staff may be better than what Coach Saban had on the field in 2023. Excellent take by you, and I agree with it. Maybe it's a hot take, but I don't think it is. I mean, when you look at staff top to bottom, I would argue it's a better staff than what they've had the last couple of years. Now, obviously, Nick Saban's the GOAT, but I think he lost his fastball a little bit. I mean, you watch it. I mean, we talk about. I've been doing this show for a few years now. We talked about it. This Alabama football team the last 3 years, a lot of mental errors, not a lot of development for all that 5-star recruiting classes that they had. You just haven't seen the talent at least at certain positions, really come to fruition and get developed. So I thought it's been a problem for them for the last 3 years. Wins and losses were still there, but I thought, obviously Bryce Young bailed them out of getting them a few more wins for the couple of years, and then just change one play and that. Think about the dynamic of Alabama football, or at least the media narrative. Had they not, they didn't make the 4th and 31 play, then they lose to Auburn. I mean, it wouldn't have been, even if Saban decided to come back, I mean, it wouldn't have been a great offseason, I'll put it that way, as far as the temperature and the optimism around the program, because it had slipped a little bit. And I know they had made the playoffs and whatnot, and they did a good job of at least getting that Alabama team to the playoffs. But, I mean, this was not the dominant force that we saw in 2016, 2018, 2017 national championship, and obviously the COVID year where, statistically it's probably Saban's best team. But, the flip side of that is, how about these teams like Kirby Smart? How about Brian Kelly? If you couldn't beat this past year, because this was not one of his stronger teams, right? I mean, to that team to make it to the playoffs was his best coaching job, in my opinion. What does that say about these other programs that they couldn't take down Nick Saban even in, his weaker year? Well, it just further emphasizes that Nick Saban's the best of all time. Sure. So, but it may tell us a little bit about these coaches too. I still think, Kirby and Brian Kelly are obviously, I think more of Kirby than I do Brian Kelly, but it's certainly, I would say with Kirby more than Brian Kelly this year, that loss in that SEC championship game when he had the better team. I mean, that was another opportunity for him to, at least start taking the reins more and more and, get that narrative out there that, hey, I mean, he is definitely the next guy in line to be the best in college football. And, the reality is 1-5 against Saban. And, I think there's an asterisk next to the one win because Alabama decimated a wide receiver. And if they're not, I'm not sure that they lose even that game to Georgia. So, look, a lot of guys lost to Nick Saban, though. So, I guess I look at the guys. I think a little bit more highly that Harbaugh was able to beat Saban. The fact that Saban usually was dynamite with extra time to prep, even in one of his weaker teams, I certainly bet Alabama in that game. So I actually come away. As far as the coaches, he's no longer in college football, but I came away more impressed with Harbaugh than anything as far as what would happen this past year.
Brad, I want to circle back to Alabama because you talked about the expectations, and then we'll move on to some other college football, just takes from you. We're talking with Brad Powers right now, professional handicapper. Brad Powers 7 on the Twitter account. BradPowersports.com is the website. Brad Powers 7 on the Twitter account. When you look at these expectations, what would be fair expectations for this upcoming year for Kalen DeBoer?
Yeah, I think 9-10 wins, and I know that's not going to sound great for what Alabama's been.
Would that be enough to get you in the playoffs, Brad?
Oh, I think so. I think, it'd be a disappointing season if they didn't make the playoffs. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
I got to get my mind to wrap my mind around that. I'm not there yet as far as 12-team playoff. But, yeah, It's playoff or it'll be a disappointing season. Now, not all is lost. They go 9-3. They lose a close game to Georgia, LSU. Maybe drop another game that's close. I mean, the schedule is very difficult. I wouldn't be alarmed too much if I was an Alabama fan. I know they're not accustomed to losing 3 games in a season, but I'll put it this way: there's an early win total out on Alabama, 9.5. I bet the under. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to be my preferred position when it's all said and done. I'm hoping that there's more negativity around Alabama. I can take advantage of it and actually bet the over. But when I made that bet, it was around the time there's a lot of uncertainty. Caleb Downs is gone. Caden Proctor's gone. I'm wondering to myself, well, when does the bleeding stop here? Do they lose more starters? But it seems like in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, that Kalen DeBoer has stopped the bleeding. And right now, I would lean more towards the over on 9.5 towards Alabama's win total.
Okay. And I don't know when you made that bet, but there was some bleeding because we were going, okay, is he going to have a roster to be able to coach these guys up in the spring? And he'll be able to go out to the transfer portal and get some guys to supplement once spring has finished up. You mentioned Jim Harbaugh a couple of minutes ago. We've already talked about Ryan Grubb and the possibility of going to Seattle. There's been a trend of college coaches going to the NFL. Is that concerning to you as a college football fan?
Certainly concerning, but also understandable considering that, if you just want to coach college football and that's what you got into the business to begin with, just to coach and not be a GM and not have to, you understand that there's recruiting involved, but not having to recruit your entire roster year after year after year, 365, 24/7. I'm sure a lot of coaches at a certain age in their career, that just doesn't interest them. And I think it's understandable. And if the money's equal or it's even close, and you got the opportunity to jump to the NFL, and I'm not an NFL guy, I make that jump.
Yeah, it just seems like a lot different chaos in the college game, and there is no downtime. There is no downtime. Who knows? That may have been part of the Saban process of kind of working out his mind. You need a little bit of – and he admitted to Reese Davis. He said, I was tired after this season. He was worn out. So – and I've never heard Nick Saban say I was tired. I never heard it. Never heard it one time. And he when he said it to Reese Davis, I went, wow, that's a foreign language to him. Brad, how about the Super Bowl? What do you think? Who do you like?
Tough. It's really tough. So I'll give you the quick spiel here. I think the sharper, bigger money is going to be on San Francisco, believe it or not. Because guys that bet professionally, guys that really bet big, I'm talking 6-7 figures, they want to get down on the game. They're going to look at the full season stats and say, hey, San Francisco is clearly the superior team with the superior resume here laying under a field goal. With that being said, I'm going to keep it simple. The bigger money was on the Ravens. That line went up and everyone told me the sharpest side, one of the biggest, sharpest sides of the entire year, not that weekend, the entire year was the Ravens, and it kind of scared me off the Chiefs a little bit. I wish I stuck to my guns. I'm going to stick to my guns here. I like Kansas City. I got the better quarterback by far, better head coach. My defensive coordinator is more experienced, and I think better. I'm in better form, at least recency bias here for Kansas City. They've been able to kick it up a notch or two as far as the playoffs in their 3 playoff games, and I'm getting points. Kansas City +2 for me.
You're right there in the backyard of the Super Bowl. What's it going to be like in the coming days there in Las Vegas?
Yeah, it hasn't really hit yet. It will, it'll probably start flowing in this weekend. It's just a typical Super Bowl week. I think there's a couple major books that open up the props tonight, so that's the big thing there. But that's business as usual. The media, and that'll start, coming in, Saturday night, Sunday night. So I'm anxious to see. I'm always about what's it going to do as far as value. Does it create more value on some of these props because more and more people are in town for it? That's what I'm kind of waiting for. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, the public, when it comes to player props in the Super Bowl, they want to bet overs. They want to bet yes, there's going to be overtime. Yes, there's going to be a safety. Yes, there's going to be a defensive touchdown, and play Mahomes over, Kelsey over, all that stuff over. So what happens is as you get closer to kickoff, you have extremely discounted prices to go opposite that line of thinking. Whether you want to play under on the player props, you want to bet no, there's not going to be overtime. So I'm wondering if I'm getting even a bigger discount this season when it comes to that. If that's the case, then I'm going to be pretty active on Super Bowl Sunday.
You like the props? You enjoy the Super Bowl props and the extended props? I know we've got a lot of props for a lot of different games, but it seems like the Super Bowl, they go above and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, certainly more profitable. I mean, than side or total, unless you really have something that you think is. I mean, on paper, the side and total should be the sharpest game as far as a line in the entire football season, whether it's college or pro. So you're going to gravitate towards where there is value. That'll be the props. So yeah, I do like the props. Now, do I originate it? Do I have some spreadsheet like my other guys, my colleagues have, where they can price out? My computer model has Kelsey with 87.45, receiving yards. I don't have anything like that, but I think most importantly, you don't have to have anything like that to make money. You just got to shop. I mean, one book will have Kelsey's receiving yards at 76. Another book might have it at 87. And you just, shop for whatever price that fits what you want to bet.
Brad Powers 7, BradPowersSports.com, Brad Powers 7, BradPowersSports.com. Brad, I always enjoy our chats. Thank you again for making time for us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Thank you. Brad Powers helping us out there. We're going to come back. We'll go to Wayne in Northport. We'll go to Jared in Dallas, Texas. We do have lines available if you want to jump in. 205-342-9904. I know we went Joe Panunzio, and then we went Brad Powers. We're wide open. We don't have another guest until we end the show at 6 p.m. We'd love for you to jump in. 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. Let me remind you about The Wharf. If you're looking for a great place to buy a new pair of jeans, Wrangler, Levi, Lee, you'll find those. Carhartt work clothing. You'll find the shirts. You'll find the pants. You'll find the many different types of boots, whether it's a typical work boot or a steel-toed boot, whether it's a waterproof boot. Maybe you're heading out to the woods this weekend, final couple of weekends here for deer season. Camouflage options, you'll find those. Justin, Tony Lama, Red Wing, Georgia, Double H, Timberline, Laredo, and many more. All the name brands that we went through in the last 45 seconds, you can find them at The Wharf. It is the Work in Western headquarters for the entire family since 1976. Go over and see my friends Mark and Lee. Open until 6 p.m. Go see them and tell them the game sent you. We'll continue with more of the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
This hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
A Tuscaloosa bar is permanently closing after 20 years as an anchor of downtown's Timerson Square district, owners announced Wednesday. Alabama's Ross recovery specialists are celebrating the grand opening of a new community center for people with substance use disorders on 18th Street in Tuscaloosa. And the Alabama Crimson Tide remains on top of the SEC after the men's basketball team came back to beat Georgia in a second-half surge last night. For the rest of these stories and much more, get connected at TuscaloosaThread.com.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, hello and happy Thursday. We always know Lurleen Wallace is going to have some delays right at McFarland Boulevard, that is. And so right now you're looking at tighter slow goes on McFarland on the eastbound lanes to Lurleen Wallace. And of course, that construction zone on
If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyland and Hargrove, TuscaloosaHyundai.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very nice afternoon with a sunny sky, the high 61. Mostly fair tonight, the low 37. We stay dry tomorrow and Saturday. The sky partly to mostly sunny both days with mild afternoons. Highs between 65 and 68. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 62 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
You're inside the game on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
You know, well, I'm a chicken fried and cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio. Up beneath the shade of a Georgia pine, and that's home, you know. Sweet tea, pecan pie, and homemade wine, where the peaches grow. In my house, it's not much to talk about.
Oh, what a great day it is. We had Joe Panunzi on earlier, Philadelphia Eagles current assistant coach. He's a special teams coordinator there. He was football operations director here at Alabama. He also coached tight ends. He coached special teams here. He coached running backs here. He won 3 national titles. I mean, let that sink in. There's many coaches that coach 45 years and never win but, maybe a handful of conference championships. I mean, he walked out of here winning 3 national titles. So Joe Panunzio earlier. We're going to go to Wayne in Northport. We'll go to Jared in Dallas. Let's go to Wayne in Northport. We're talking about changing Bryant-Denny Stadium to Bryant-Sabin Stadium. Wayne, I hope all is well. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
All is well. I've been out of pocket for a while, but I still listen just about every day. I can't say every day, but
well, thank you, Wayne. How's your mom?
She's doing okay. I had to have my gallbladder out last spring, and I had a few issues, but I'm back on the mend now.
Good. Well, it's good to hear your voice, and please give your mom my best. I will. I've shared this story, but his mom, Wayne's mom, which Wayne worked at the university in the Bryant Museum and was a big part of what they did there. Miss Cecilia was our Air Force secretary at the Air Force ROTC that I was a part of for 4 years, and she was like a mama bear to all of us cadets in ROTC, so she was awesome.
But anyway, Bud, I wanted to reflect on Coach Saban.
Okay, please do. We're paying tribute to him, and we'd love to get your thoughts.
When I knew we were going to be okay was first when we signed Julio in 2008. That proved to me he could get elite talent. And then my favorite championship, believe it or not, was the first one when we beat Texas. That's something we had not done around here because we were, I think going into that game, we were 1-7-1 against Texas all time, and we beat them for the national title. And for Digger and all those Texas people that like to point out that Colt McCoy got hurt in that game, Greg McElroy played that game with broken ribs.
He sure did.
So quit complaining.
Well, I mean, the Texas people, that's all they know is to complain, Wayne.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it is absolutely. I mean, Texas people, if you, the horns down thing, I mean, Wayne, I don't know if they know what they're getting into in the SEC if they're afraid of this horns down stuff.
I don't think they do either.
Don't do that. That hurts my feelings. I mean, can you imagine the first time they come to Bryant-Denny Stadium and there's 100,000 people doing horns down, which, I mean, they did. I guess they came and beat us. But, I mean, you know what I mean. It's.
Yeah, but I'm really excited about Coach DeBoer, and I think he's going to do a great job. And one thing I wanted to mention before I go, I don't know if you saw this on the crawler just a few minutes ago, but Mike Martin, the legendary Florida State baseball coach, passed away.
I did. I saw that go across the screen a couple of seconds ago, and for Florida State baseball coach that Wayne's talking about.
Gentleman of a man. I never met him, but he always seemed to be a great gentleman. And no, he never won a national championship, but he's probably the greatest baseball coach never to win one.
Wow.
At least I would think so.
Well, and speaking of baseball, Brad Bohannon getting a major show cause.
Yeah, 15 years.
15 years.
Thank goodness we took action immediately when that happened.
Well, I'm glad we did. And we love the University of Alabama, but Brad Bohannon.
Speaking of that, are y'all going to be carrying baseball, or is it going to move to another station this year?
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thought it might be moving to Catfish or something, because I've been hearing some ads on there about it, but I didn't know.
Oh, on baseball? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know, but...
Well, there is some games that we have to kind of juggle a little bit because there'll be some early, especially during the first
couple of weeks, cold weather games.
Yeah, the cold weather. They move those games up. We'll have to juggle that. We'll have to split some streams, and we'll keep doing our show, and they'll keep doing some baseball. We'll definitely find a place to put it.
Okay.
I haven't heard from
good deal, bro.
all the official stuff. So Wayne, real quick. So this is the question. You're a historian. You worked at the Bryant Museum as a historian. I mean, you went through a lot of the documents, and I remember the encyclopedia that you was when I knew you inside the athletic department. Would you have a problem if they renamed the stadium Bryant Sabin Stadium?
I would not. I mean, I know President Denny was very influential in making football as important as it was around here. So, you know, in that regard, I know a lot of people would like to see his name stay on there, but if you took his name off and put Saban's on there, I don't see a problem with it. It's the two greatest coaches in the history of the sport. So...
And we're blessed to have both. I mean, let that
it.
sink in. I mean, we're blessed to have both. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, we've had both, and Kalen DeBoer is going to do us a great job, buddy. I say 10-2 next year.
Well, and that will be enough. 10-2 in a win over Auburn and a win over Georgia. I believe I'd take that right now.
I would.
I mean, to beat Georgia right here. Thanks, Wayne. I mean, can you imagine the reaction? We got some Kalen DeBoer audio that we're going to continue to get to. We've been working a little bit of that in the show. We'd love for you to jump in. 205-342-9904. Jared in Dallas, Texas, 2 minutes away. Bryce, San Antonio, Texas. Hey, we're popular in Texas. That's a good thing. We'll continue with more of the game. T-Town Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
What if you could win $1,000?
Yeah! It's always about the money.
And it only took you a minute to do it. It's happening on Fridays with the only legal betting app in Alabama.
Yeah!
Bet U. To have a shot at the money, go to the iPhone App Store and download the Bet U app. That's bet and the letter U. Open your account, and you're officially in the running to win $1,000 this Friday.
Let's win.
Make sure you download the Bet U app in the App Store and open your account to be in to win it this Friday.
Thanks so much, guys.
Winners will be contacted.
Are in the running to win this Friday. $1,000. Just download the Bet U app right now in the App Store and sign up for an account for your shot at winning.
Find Tide on Twitter @Tide109 to keep up with show announcements, guests, and our reporters in the field.
You say I'm getting in too deep, but I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. I try so hard, I can't rise above it. Don't know what it is about that little gal's loving, but I like it. I love it. I want some more of it.
Noah, have you ever had lasagna soup? Have you ever heard of lasagna soup?
I have not. I've had lasagna.
I've had lasagna too, and I love lasagna. I tried lasagna soup today for the very first time.
Where'd you try it?
Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. You knew that, didn't you? I mean, you knew
I
that.
suspected.
Okay. And you know what else I tried today?
What's that?
It's not on the menu, so I'm going to tell you about it, but you're not going to be able to go in there and order it.
Why would you tease me like this?
Well, because it was a sample, okay? I mean, you know, when you've got an expertise around food, okay? When you've got expertise around food, they bring you things to go, try this. Like 3 or 4 years ago, I tried the pepper jelly burger, and I highly endorsed the pepper jelly burger. I said, yes, pepper jelly burger is A+. Today, they made me, they forced me to try Nashville-style fried shrimp po' boy.
Oh, wow.
I had coleslaw all over it. It was there. It was where it needed to be. It's not on the menu, but you can find the Nashville hot style chicken tacos. That was kind of the theme. But, they forced me to do it, and you know, I agreed. I said, yeah, sure. And I passed up Nashville-style hot chicken tacos, coffee rub brisket po' boy, blackened mahi-mahi, coffee rub prime rib is for evening special, smoked pork chop, the Nashville hot chicken Alfredo is back on the menu, black eyed peas is the vegetable of the day, biscuit sandwiches, great salad sandwiches. You can find our good friends right there, Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. If you're thinking about dinner tomorrow, you've got bacon cheddar ranch tots, is the vegetable of the day, fire roasted wings, chicken club, boom boom shrimp plate, and then tomorrow evening they'll bring grilled steak medallions back, smoked pork chop, blackened mahi-mahi. They've always got great steaks. They've got great entrees, the bacon wrap meatloaf, the fish and taters, all that Southern cuisine that we love right here. Eat Southern, be Southern. A uniquely Southern place, Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. Go over and see Brad Brett and the amazing staff. Noah, I was hoping that maybe I can't do it, but someone's got a very special birthday today, and you're an unbiased member of the media. I'm an unbiased member of the media. I hate them all.
I don't know about that.
I'm unbiased.
Well,
I hate them all except Alabama.
Oh, gosh.
I do. I'm unbiased.
That's not unbiased.
What is in my category?
Oh, gosh.
But Auburn is celebrating a big birthday today. I was hoping that we could get them something nice. Happy 168 to Auburn. What do you think we should get them? That's not nice, Noah. I can't believe you said that. Nobody heard it, because you were able to whisper in my ear there. He said get them a box of coloring books. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Well, the thing is, when they're celebrating a birthday, it's just another year of being not the best, though.
Losing season, by the way, for Hugh Freeze. What is this? This happy birthday?
I looked up sad version of happy birthday.
It's like a funeral version. Oh, man. Maybe we should have got Paul to sing happy birthday to the Auburn Tigers. Maybe Jared and Dallas will sing happy birthday to the Auburn Tigers. Jared, good afternoon. You're in the game. How are you?
Man, I am not singing happy birthday to anybody on the radio, okay?
Not even to the Auburn Tigers?
No. You know what? Speaking of them, I didn't even call this wasn't even anything I was going to talk about, but I have a friend here in town we had dinner with the other night, and he has kids that went over there and flew all the way over there yesterday to go to their basketball game last night. Can you imagine spending all that money to fly from Dallas to Atlanta and drive to that place to go to a basketball game? Good Lord.
Bless their heart. That's all I can say. So they're dog fans, and they probably were celebrating. And then Alabama was down by 14 at half, and got them. Wow.
Yeah.
I tried to ask Brad Powers if it's a reflection. When Nick Saban, if you agree that this was one of his weaker teams, because it was. This was not a great football team. Mm-mm. And for you not to be able to take them down, it's a reflection of who you are as a coaching staff.
Oh, no, I agree, man. I agree totally. Absolutely. And you know what? This is weird, but the whole Grubbs thing, I hate that the guy might go. But I have far less concern now that KD is the head coach than actually I would have if it was Saban, if you want to know the truth, because Saban was struggling to get those positions filled. Not you commented, others have too. That's had a little bit probably to do with him going ahead and stepping away. But this is DeBoer's offense. Grubbs could run it very well, and he could call plays very well. But look, I actually went on Wikipedia and kind of compared where the two of Grubbs and DeBoer, how they kind of paralleled each other and gone everywhere together. But there was times where DeBoer was on his own, like in Indiana. He did just fine without Grubbs, and I kind of think that DeBoer will find somebody because I think as time goes on, we're going to see a coaching tree spring from DeBoer for offensive minds, similar to what Saban had for defensive minds. Like I guess you have Muschamp and Kirby and some of these other guys that sprung from his tree that were great. I think we're going to see the same thing. So I'm not stressed on that. Whereas in the past 2 or 3 years, every time we lost an assistant or coordinator, I was like, oh God, what are we going to do?
Well,
you agree?
You also add this right here too. You want your coaches to be wanted, and when they're wanted in the NFL, it tells the recruits that's a special endorsement. When you get a chance to be in, and let's say he turns it down. I mean, let's just hypothetically say he turns it down, and that becomes public. That's a recruiting tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
huge. That's a huge recruiting tool. I mean, when you can go in, and especially in this offensive, I think Joe Panunzio said it. I think Brad Powers said it. I mean, we're in an offense-driven college football.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of exhausting at times to watch, but yeah, you're right. And Brad Powers did pretty much say everything I was going to say right when he started his call. I was going to make another comment too.
Please.
Not to get everything way off track here, but I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I've ever seen as much emotion around a quarterback as there is around Milroe. People have such fiery emotions about him and whether he plays or doesn't play, and will they build an offense around him? And I'm kind of like, I used to really hold comments back on college football players because they weren't being paid, but now they're making more money than I am. So, it's a profession now, so they're fair game. And I love the kid, and I think it's because he's such a good kid. I mean, he really is a good guy. And if he can run the offense and make it happen, great. But, if he can't, great. He'll put somebody else in there. And I think everybody needs to make peace with that because this is a business, and DeBoer's running the business, and his offense is his cash cow. And he's got to have somebody that can run it. And he can't go – I'm sure he'll modify it to some extent because Milroe is such an incredible athlete. But if he has to modify it too much, he's going to have to move on. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. He can't afford to have somebody out there that can't run that offense, man, because it's what his entire career is built around. So, but it is crazy.
So how much, what's your confidence in Jalen Milroe being the quarterback in 212 days, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union?
50-50 at best, to be honest. Just from what I saw in his ability to pre-read, I think your college nerds guy made the best point of anyone about him in an earlier call weeks and weeks ago, where he said, going through progression from 1, 2, 3 is fine. It's looking at the defense when you're walking up to it and knowing who that first guy should be. And if he can't do that, and look, I grew up in an NFL football player's house. Okay. I mean, I grew up in a time where every year his job was on the line, right? And lived that cutthroat world. And in that position, I hope he can, because God, can you imagine if he's able to run that offense and then
with that mobility,
running ability? Oh my good Lord! I mean,
it would be almost unstoppable. It would be almost unstoppable. I mean, because Michael Penix was a mobile guy, but he wasn't in the Jalen Milroe camp. I mean, that's a different.
He ain't running over nobody. I mean, Milroe, one of his last runs of the year, he hurt that guy from Michigan. He hurt that boy, and he got up and walked away. And the Michigan guy did. I mean, that's freakish. So I pray to God that he's able to pick up on all of it. And I'm not pulling for or against because
may the best guy win. May the best guy win, Jared. I mean, listen, I love what Jalen Milroe has been able to do. I mean, he continues to be a great ambassador. For those who don't know, he did a youth camp here in Tuscaloosa, where it's part of the NIL.
Yeah.
And he was only obligated to stay 2 hours. So, these camps come in, they hire him for 2. He stayed 5. He stayed 5 hours. I mean, that is...
He's a great kid.
Class act. Everything he's always handled, the way he does the media. I mean, I think he had one slip up, and I didn't really like what he said about Bill O'Brien because we just don't normally hear that from an Alabama guy.
I thought that was whining.
Yeah, a little bit, and that ego may have got to him a little bit because he didn't have a great game out in L.A. Maybe he was worried too much about Bill O'Brien and not enough about the Michigan defense. But either way, but to be fair for Jalen Milroe is, I don't think Tommy Rees was a great coordinator.
No.
I mean, he
didn't do
probably a B minus, C plus at best. And I'm being generous. I'm grading on the scale.
Yes, you are. I can never. I record every game and then rewatch them probably multiple times because when I'm watching it live, I can't even hardly think straight half the time. So I go back. I can't. I don't think I'll ever watch that one, the final game.
Yeah,
I don't think I'll ever
that
watch
offense. I don't know what they were trying to do offensively.
I can't. And that last play, for the life of me, I'll never understand how that made it through everyone's headset to the field. I mean, you get the best athlete in possibly college football, and you don't roll him out, so he has like 3 options. You give him one. Anyways. So, I'm really fascinated with how I've never seen this much emotion. I didn't see this much emotion with Tua and Hurts. Any of them. I mean, we've had tons of quarterback competitions, but man, oh man, people have such extreme opinions and emotions about this to the point of, well, they got to change the entire offensive city. Well, no, they don't. But if he can do it and he's the man, let him go. So, anyways, hey, I got one more thing. I called into Kerry's show this morning. I'm kind of enjoying him, but and I asked him to kind of give me and the rest of us commuters that are all around the country that listen on the app and whatnot, his history, because we can't always listen all the time. And I mean, I know you know him very well, and he's part of the Tide 100.9 family, and you guys are really unique and have a special deal. So I just was like, I'm curious to know how you got to where you are. And he went through the story, and I mentioned, you, and he's grateful some of us are calling into his show now. But I was going to ask you about a story he told on air this morning about you getting pretty upset with him as he was slow playing you in a softball game years ago.
Really?
Do you remember that?
No, I don't. I do not.
You don't?
No, I don't. I don't remember that. But I did play church league softball, and I played at intramural at Alabama.
No, he said it was a church league game.
Okay.
He said it was a church league game, and he was up to bat, and he was taking a bunch of pitches and taking his time because he was basically running the clock out. And I guess you were playing for the other church, and he said you were not happy with him, man.
Really? I don't remember that.
Oh, you gotta ask him. Maybe he's listening. He'll call in.
Yeah, I don't remember that. But so he told the story of Tide, because I can tell you the story of Tide. I was at another station. Matter of fact, that one of the stations that I'm on now, we actually bought and brought over to our cluster. Okay. Yeah. So I was at another station, and I'd been there for 9 years at another station here in town. And matter of fact, it was a political station / sports. We carried sports, we carried news, we carried political. We were just a typical talk station. And when Nick Saban arrived, I went full time over there. I made the transition from a station there, and I came over here to a true all sports station. Now, we had no local programming. We were affiliated with a station in Birmingham, and we aired all of their programming plus me. And so in 2010, I made the transition to come over here. And so then when I made the transition here, we started adding to it, and I was the evening guy. I did 6 to 9 my first time, and then I went. So we adjusted to 5 to 8, and then we ended up moving 2 to 6, probably 8 years ago, something like that. My boss, David DeBose, is hyper local, and we knew that the guy that I go up against every afternoon in the afternoon, in the other spot, that we were airing, he was not covering Alabama the way that Alabama fans wanted him to cover it. They're talking about, South Carolina women's basketball and the Missouri baseball program or whatever. And, Alabama fans don't want to hear that. So we decided to move to the afternoon. I always had a lot of people that told me, said, man, it is a career disaster. You will literally, this is going to drive your career off. I had so many friends of mine in the business told me, I said, man, you'll never be able to make it in the afternoons of going up against that giant. And we don't try to beat him in certain areas. We just know we can do things that he can't do. We spend 4 hours talking about Alabama. We cover Alabama like a microscope. And, it's kind of hard to cover Alabama from Charlotte, South Carolina. Or North Carolina.
That's what started the conversation, because I was telling him about how I was over there for a game a year or so ago and was actually borrowing someone's vehicle, and I got in and it was on the station. And I was sick of the other guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I was. I don't know if you remember. I think I may have told you that. Yeah, I've told you our relationship with the Perkins, and we're really close to them, and my kids, go over to Carolyn's and all. Anyway, so I got in her car. It was Carolyn Perkins' vehicle. I was borrowing her vehicle because my wife was running around in ours, and I was going somewhere, and I turned it on, and it was on y'all's station. And this is right at the peak of time when the national media was really just dogpiling to keep us out of the playoffs. This was the year TCU made it. And it was obvious, and I was so sick of listening to it. I couldn't listen to it anymore. And that's when I turned you guys on in her car that day, and I was like, holy cow, these are my people. These are my people. They've been listening ever since. But I thought he was telling some of the same things you just did. I thought it was really neat how you and him and Gary Harris and everybody goes back.
I produced Gary and Rodney's show many years ago. When we were at the other station, we had Tighter Insider Radio for a short time, and I was the producer there and did a lot of producing, did a lot of just a variety of work. And Jared, I didn't pick this profession. I believe God put me in this position for a reason. Some people know this, some people don't. But I was in grad school here at the University of Alabama as a grad student, and I was actually in a PhD program, and that was my plan to go and teach and research and love people, which the teaching component of, and that was my plans. And then here comes radio, and it just took off. And so, I pinch myself every day that I had a chance to cover the greatest dynasty in the history of sports. I had a chance to sit in the front row and watch Nick Saban operate. I had a chance to, I look back and I just paid off my debt. Well, I put it on a credit card. We always pay it off every month, the fee. I just paid off my trip to California just a couple of days ago, and I was like, oh, my Lord. But then I reminded myself, Jared, for one, Alabama fans deserve the best, and we try to give that to them. But also, I had a chance to cover Nick Saban's final game. That's something I'll never be able to give up. That's a feeling that 40 years from now, I'll be telling that same story. I had a chance to watch Nick Saban walk off that field for the very final time. And even though it was not a win, I was there. And it was special.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, your listeners, your audience should continue to grow. I tell all my Bama buddies around here.
Well, thank you. Well, that's how we've grown. I look up at the call board right now. I've got Dallas, Texas. I got San Antonio, Texas. I've got Louisiana. I've got Brookwood, which is north of Tuscaloosa, and I've got Tony in Tuscaloosa. So, we got a lot of folks. It's because of people like yourself that share that, and we say thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. I tell them all. I'm like, you want some legitimate scoop in and I will tell you this, Ryan. One of the best things about it is you guys obviously love Bama, right? We do. Bama.
Yeah, that's everything about our co-host, all of our co-hosts.
But it's not. It's not a huge homer perspective. It's honest. It's really not, and that's one of the beautiful things about it.
We try. I think we try. I think we've got. You would say Gary is probably the best journalist of the bunch because he can write it right down the fence. But even Gary, it's not a secret. He's leaning towards the Alabama. But as far as a guy that can write it down the middle, I can't really. I can't hold back. It's kind of like those Auburn Tigers. I like to. I mean, they almost write their own jokes. To be honest with you,
they do make it easy.
They make it easy. I mean, it's easy material. But hey, Jared, thanks for the kind words, man. Have a great rest of your day.
Yep. You too. See you, man.
Thank you, Jared in Dallas, Texas. We'll come back. We'll go out to San Antonio. We'll continue with more phone calls. Tide at 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. When you go looking for trouble, you find it, and we found some on Highway 43, both north and southbound lanes at Rose Boulevard and Northport. You do want to watch out for that, knocking out a lane. Traffic's just a bit slow maneuvering around that. And we've got the construction zone on McFarland Boulevard, both east and westbound.
Or shop at over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very nice afternoon with a sunny sky, the high 61. Mostly fair tonight, below 37. We stay dry tomorrow and Saturday. The sky partly to mostly sunny both days with mild afternoons. Highs between 65 and 68. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 62 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Light up those phone lines on the game with Ryan Fowler. 205-342-9904. You're inside the game on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Gets hotter than a hoochie coochie. We laid rubber on the Georgia
Joe Panunzio knocking it out of the park. And I know Noah's working on some special projects with the audio that we had. Great job over there, by the way. I enjoyed listening to that. And, hey, we're always trying to expand. We're always trying to grow this network, whether it's adding new shows or expanding. We appreciate you for being a part of our show. We'll be with you until 6 o'clock. We are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. Bryce, I don't want to squeeze you up against the top of the hour break. I got a hard break coming up here in just a couple of minutes. I'm going to get you on the other side, and then we'll go, let's see, it's Bryce. Well, Robert Brookwood was there, and now he's here. So
yeah, he went through a dead zone.
Okay, so Robert is second up, then Tony, and then we'll work our others back into the conversation. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Beyer.
All NFL head coaching vacancies have been filled as the Washington Commanders will reportedly name Dan Quinn as their new head coach. Quinn spent the last 3 seasons as the Cowboys defensive coordinator, also led the Atlanta Falcons as their head coach to Super Bowl 51. Jim Harbaugh introduced today as the new head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers.
For the players that have been great, our communications have been outstanding. Appreciate them welcoming me to the team. I believe we really share an important asset, which is being relentless. I see that in the players that we have on this football team and the Spanos family.
The Patriots are hiring Alex Van Pelt as their offensive coordinator.
It's always about the money. And it only took you a minute to do it. It's happening on Fridays with the only legal betting app in Alabama. Bet you to have a shot at the money. Go to the iPhone App Store and download the BetU app. That's bet and the letter U. Open your account.
Rolling down a backwoods Tennessee byway, one arm on the wheel, holding my lover with the other, a sweet, soft southern thrill.
All right, can we count them together? You guys ready? 18 national championships. 18. Nobody has more. 30 30 SEC titles. Nobody has more. By the way, I see Digger down here a few callers away. He needs to know that we're the king of the SEC. 30 SEC championships. 147 first-team All-Americans, 77 postseason appearances. Nobody has more. 45 postseason victories. Nobody has more. 4 Heisman winners. We have a few programs that have more. The NCAA all-time scoring leader. Obviously, nobody has that. 43 10-win seasons. Nobody has more. And the greatest football coaches to ever walk the sidelines. We're talking about Alabama Crimson Tide football. We are powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyler Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. Let's go to Bryce in San Antonio. Bryce, good afternoon. You're in the game.
What's going on, Ryan? How's it going, man?
Good, Bryce. Thank you for calling in.
Of course. So, Ryan, tomorrow, Free for All Friday, I'm going to call in.
Okay.
You and me are going to finally have our Dallas Cowboys therapy talk because I'm a big Cowboys fan too, as you know, and we haven't got to have that discussion.
Well, and, here I am featuring a Philadelphia Eagle guy a couple of minutes ago. I mean, shame on me, huh?
Oh, my gosh. He likes the Eagles?
Well, he coaches with the Eagles. Joe Pedunzio is assistant coach there. So,
sorry. I didn't hear that in the show.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm just kidding. But as a Cowboy guy, we're not really going to associate with the Philadelphia Eagles. You know what I mean?
No, we're not. But hey, here, let's go this route, Ryan. Walk with me.
Okay.
I think it's time for the alternate discussion. Now, follow me here.
Okay.
I want everyone listening to imagine this. We got Georgia coming in week 4 next year. It's a night game. We unveil black and crimson uniforms. We go black and crimson helmets.
Oh.
We repaint the end zones black and crimson, and we repaint the logo in the middle black and crimson. And the whole crowd wears black and crimson, because I know everybody's got black and crimson Alabama gear. It's awesome. The whole crowd's black. People are painting skulls on their face. I'm ready to go to war with the board in this new era. So let's just go.
No, Bryce. No. We cannot.
Come on, Ryan.
We cannot mess with any of the uniform. No. When you flip on the TV and you see Oregon, you don't even know who it is, right? You have to wait for a score.
Much.
Yeah, okay. I like when you flip on Alabama. It's no secret. When you flip on Penn State, you see it. You flip on these traditional uniforms. I love the traditional uniforms. Sorry, Bryce. I can't go with you, man.
I love the traditional uniforms, Ryan, but that's the same type of talk we had before NIL. It's just, no, I can't. Ryan, it's a new era, man. Come on now. I mean, Penn State's uniforms are cool too, but they do whiteouts. How cool is that?
I hear you. I mean, you could do something with the fans in Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Okay, that's a start. Let's do that.
But I mean, we're not very organized. We can't even get the people that sat on those prime seats down there to stand up and yell. I mean, they like to sit on their hands. So we got a long way to go. I mean, I see some of these stadiums where each section has a certain color and the next section has a different color. I don't know if we could ever pull that off.
Oh, I know. But I've been to some raucous environments, man. And when they got those,
we just went to digital tickets a couple of years ago where we went all digital tickets, no paper tickets. It was a meltdown here.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey Ryan, I went to a Spurs game, and I went to pay for a beverage with a $10 bill, and they said, oh, we're cashless now.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing.
Well, it's the government. They're tracking your food, man. So if they don't like something you're buying, they just decline it. Bam.
Yeah. Horrible, Ryan. But hey, look, I think you got to think about it. I think it'd be cool. I understand you're a little old school, but that's all right, Ryan. We got time. It's January.
Okay.
I got time to work on it.
All right. So, did you like my proposal?
Start with the crowd first?
Well, no, the stadium, renaming of the stadium. What'd you think?
renaming it to include Saban in there somewhere?
Yeah, Bryant Saban Stadium.
I don't like it. Only because I think Bryant-Denny rolls so perfectly.
It does. It does. It just rolls off the tip of your tongue. It does. Bryant-Denny Stadium.
I know.
But if not that, how do we honor Coach Saban?
We renamed the city of Tuscaloosa Saban.
I like it. Sabanville. Sabanville. Live
the
in
University of Alabama
Sabanville.
in Sabanville.
Sabanville. I like it. Sabanville. Sabanville. I like that. Sabanville. I like it.
I mean, hey, come on now.
I mean, Tuscaloosa is a very famous name. We've been around for quite a while. But, Sabanville, I like it. I've often proposed 10th Avenue being renamed to Saban Boulevard or whatever you want to call it.
I think that's the most realistic, and I think that'd be great.
And it's 10th Avenue, so it's not like, it's nothing that, nobody's going to get offended. Oh, they took 10 down. Oh, right. I can't believe it. 10 was my favorite number when I was a kid, and I don't know what I'm going to do without it. Yeah, so.
Totally.
But, okay, so you say no to the stadium, but yes to the street. Got it. Thanks, Bryce.
Roll Tide, Ryan. Thanks.
Roll Tide. Let's go to Robert in Brookwood. Then we'll go to Tony in Tuscaloosa. Robert, Brookwood. Robert, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good, man. It's
the previous caller talking about black. Black's not in Alabama's agenda. We're not welcoming Georgia. We're black everywhere.
Yeah,
You know what happens when you do a blackout? Don't you get blowed out both times?
Yeah.
That's Georgia.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to fall into that trap of doing a blackout or
That's
whiteout.
traditional.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you like Notre Dame or not, they keep the same colors. You're talking about all their Heisman winners. They won a lot of theirs in the 40s, 50s, and 60s when the media just loved Notre Dame. Handed a lot of Heismans out to people that really didn't even deserve it.
All right, so being a traditionalist, would you rename the stadium after Coach Saban?
I heard Jumbo say that the other day. That ain't a bad idea, but it ain't going to happen because Bryant Saban Stadium, some of the announcers get that screwed up. They'll still say Bryant-Denny Stadium. And
well, I mean, could you imagine?
You could say Saban Field. I mean.
Well, yeah, but one of the guys pointed it out last week. He said that's not significant enough. And I agree with him in a lot of ways. The way that he said it.
Well, I don't know what else we can do, man. Can't name the city. You can't name. Name some streets. You can even name a Saban High School or
rename the city.
So much. Yeah, we're not going to take away from our Native American names. So.
Well, I know. Rename Northport.
Protest about that.
Northport would be okay with that, right? Let's call it Sabanville.
Yeah, there'll be some folks in Northport.
I mean, we had some folks that talked about the Walk of Champions on the app that sent us some messages. I don't know. I mean, I can't think of anything else that would be a proper. If the field is not significant enough, I can't come up with anything other than the stadium. But I also would love to see us. I would love to also see us do things to honor his legacy, even beyond just the stadium and local things. I think there needs to be a Nick Saban Award.
Yeah, we could do plenty of those.
I mean, we have an award for everything, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, tight end award, center award.
I'm sure between now and the season starts, there's going to be some ideas about honoring him during a game during the year. I'm sure if he's still going to be around, he'll be at most of the home games, and we could honor him at halftime. Georgia game would be a good time to honor him, kind of rub it in their face a little bit. But
I like your way of thinking.
I would say if LSU was at home, do it at them. But, he did get LSU fans can say what they want. It was a few years ago he got elected to Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame.
He did.
That was an honor, so.
And we need to beat them.
He built LSU. They can say what they want. He built it back up when they were nothing, and they're still living off that handout. Real quick, I'm anxious to hear Tony call. That song you're playing, you chose it, Alan Jackson, that was on just a little while ago. I know why you chose it, because it said get hotter than the hoochie coochie. It reminded you when you and Rodney Orr were sitting out on the front of the athletic department and the hot blonde pulled up, picked up Lane because she was playing that. Have a good one, brother.
Lord have mercy. He's trying to get me in a lot of trouble. You give me this sign. You think we need to go early? I mean,
I know how you are with Tony.
Well, you tell me to break. You tell me to break and then come back to Tony?
I think we're going to need all the time we can get with Tony.
Oh, you want more time with Tony?
Oh, no, not more time. Just a normal amount of time is more time.
Just a normal amount of time. All right, we'll get to Tony coming up in a couple of minutes. Nukes Eatery, 205 University Boulevard, 205-758-2455. Joel Bromfield, some great sandwiches like the French dip sandwich that you can find right there. Salads, California-style pizzas, catering from a group of 5 to 500. It is Nukes Eatery. We roll along. We'll take Tony, and we'll take our good friend down in Louisiana. He is a close friend of our program. We'll continue with more of the game. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
What if you could win $1,000?
It's always about the money.
And it only took you a minute to do it. It's happening on Fridays with the only legal betting app in Alabama. Bet You. To have a shot at the money, go to the iPhone App Store and download the Bet You app. That's bet and the letter U. Open your account, and you're officially in the running to win $1,000 this Friday.
Let's win.
Make sure you download the Bet You app in the App Store and open your account to be in to win it this Friday.
Thanks so much, guys.
Winners will be contacted on Friday from our official betting app, Bet You, and Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC. Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
A Tuscaloosa bar is permanently closing after 20 years as an anchor of downtown's Timerson Square district, owners announced Wednesday. Alabama's Ross recovery specialists are celebrating the grand opening of a new community center for people with substance use disorders on 18th Street in Tuscaloosa. And the Alabama Crimson Tide remains on top of the SEC after the men's basketball team came back to beat Georgia in a second-half surge last night. For the rest of these stories and much more, get connected at TuscaloosaThread.com.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. 2059 now a crash on the westbound lanes before Foster's Holly Springs Lane. This one knocks out a lane. You've got some pretty moderate delays. And also Highway 43 still dealing with that fender bender on both the north and southbound lanes at Rosebud.
Townsend Nissan Super Sale is underway right now with instant savings from $2,000 to $10,000 on most in-stock units. No reasonable offer refused. Shop Townsend Nissan today.
Alabama Credit Union. Feel good about your money. AlabamaCU.com. The mobile app makes banking so much more convenient. All the mobile deposits, many times you don't even have to go into the bank to manage your money, whether we're talking about checking, savings, mortgage, home equity loan, financing a vehicle. And remember, Roll Tide, show your pride with the official credit card of the University of Alabama Alumni Association.
Hunter Johnson. It's the Tide Basketball Postgame Show, brought to you by Pritchett Moore Insurance, Tuscaloosa's best choice for business and personal insurance for 90 years.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A very nice afternoon with a sunny sky, the high 61. Mostly fair tonight, the low 37. We stay dry tomorrow and Saturday. The sky partly to mostly sunny both days with mild afternoons. Highs between 65 and 68. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 60 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
It's the longest running sports show in Tuscaloosa. You're listening to The Game with Ryan Fowler on Tide 100.9.
I was driving through Georgia in late July on a day hot enough to make the devil sigh. I saw a homemade sign written in red, Ryan County Watermelon Festival ahead. Well, I wasn't in a hurry, so I slowed down, took a 2-lane road to a 1-horse town. There was a party going on. When I got there, I heard a welcome speech from a small town man. He said, "We got 100 gallons of sweet red wine made from..."
All right, we welcome you right back into the game. Med Center Urgent Care Family Medicine, no appointment necessary. The super doctors who live and work in our area MedCenterUrgentCare.com. MedCenterUrgentCare.com. North River, right there on Rice Mine Road. Northport, right there on McFarland Boulevard. Lowe's Shopping Center here in Tuscaloosa. You'll find our good friends right there. Demopolis, Fayette, Alabama. Hoover, Alabama. Greatly appreciate Med Center Urgent Care Family Medicine. Let's go to Tony in Tuscaloosa. Tony, good afternoon. You're in the game.
What's up?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, first off, there's a couple things I want to cover real quick before we get into the other stuff. When we're talking about hot hoochie coochies,
yeah,
talking to Tony and spending more time with Tony, like Noah was saying, spending more time, that's a known accelerant.
Well, that's good. Okay.
Now,
and see, Robert is always trying to get me in the weeds.
Hot hoochie coochies have been known to get a lot of people in the weeds.
I think I'm just going to back away from the table. I was going to say something. I think I'm just going to step right on.
No, go ahead. Let's hear it. Come on, Ryan.
No, that's okay.
Put the milk and cookies.
I mean, I remember doing the Northport Power Equipment spot, and he used to talk about those blowers. He said, what type of blowers do they have over at Northport Power Equipment? And then I would say, well, I mean, they got the handheld blower, backpack blower, battery-operated tools. I mean, you see where this is going?
Keep me away from the battery-operated tools. I'm going to have to draw the line somewhere.
I mean, Northport Power Equipment. I mean,
coochies are well known for battery-powered tools. You know.
Lord have mercy! I'm trying. Noah's my face red. Yeah, I know.
We're going to change
like a tomato.
the topic.
Oh, thank God.
Change the topic here real quick.
Hey,
we need to clean this up a little bit. So I've got an idea. You know,
the pharmacy at Midtown with Richard's flagpole supplement.
That's big Richard's flagpole supplement for you, my friend. But God bless
America.
Anyway, you were talking about a special birthday today.
And Paul let us down. I mean, Paul didn't even.
No. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I got Paul. Don't worry about that. But on birthdays, that started reminding me of, my birthdays and all. And my daughter, she's 12. And growing up, she didn't have any way to go buy me anything, anything like that. But she would always make me something, still does, on my birthday. And what I like is when she'd spend some time on it. Here, Daddy, I made this for you. And it meant a lot or whatever. So I thought I would spend a little time, like the time I've been on hold here, and I thought I would make something for who's our birthday recipient today?
The Auburn Tigers.
Okay. I've spent a little time. Can you hear me? I've spent a little time making them a little something, and here we go.
You are such a generous person, Tony.
Happy birthday.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Oh, Lord have mercy, Tony.
It took me a little while.
Well, that was
to make it just right.
Well, what you had for lunch probably created help.
Let me tell you, I might need to do another flush.
Double flush. Well,
we get a courtesy flush.
I used to have a sign that was in my shop. And my wife wouldn't let me put it in the house. Okay, she said no.
You sure that you're not talking about one of those tool calendars?
No, it was an actual sign that you put above the toilet. But she said no, you got to put it in the workshop. And it used to say "flush twice." It's a long way to Auburn.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah,
nice. I feel a lot lighter right now. Yeah. By the way, I feel like I'm feeling good.
I also had another. I had another sign that said, and it was a light switch plate, and it said, "Alabama turns me on, Auburn turns me off."
Oh well, everyone in Alabama knows Alabama's number one. We also know who's number two.
They are. I mean, and they try hard too. I mean, they.
No, not in anything. Especially, they're just everyone's number 2. All right. Do you want me to continue down this?
Well, we can. I mean, we can.
Or do you want to actually talk about something sports related?
Yeah, we can. I mean, we're 6 minutes into this, and we've covered.
Oh God! I just take my shoes off and let me hold on. I didn't realize we hadn't even started yet. Oh, let me get comfortable. Oh yeah. Oh, taking the shoes off right now, putting the slippers on.
Yeah.
Smoking jacket. Of course, I did just do that. I need to smoke. Okay.
Bryant Saban.
Hold on. Oh. No, it's Bryant Denny Saban. It even sounds good. You know, there's other stadiums. Ben Hill Griffith Stadium. You know, you've got lots of 3-name stadiums. It's Bryant Denny Stadium. You don't cut anyone out. It's just that's the legacy.
Okay. Bryant.
It's always been Denny Stadium, has it not been?
It has been. Well, for a long time.
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, he's the one that really put football on the map. You got Denny, got to have him there. Coach Bryant, you got to have him there. Saban. Bryant Denny Saban Stadium. It's got a ring to it.
It does.
I like it.
And see, I never really thought about, I guess maybe I just thought in my head 2s is really all you can do, but Bryant Denny Saban Stadium. Bryant Denny Stadium. You know what? That actually does have a little to it. I like it.
Onomatopoeia.
Bryant Denny Saban Stadium. Bryant Denny Saban
It's got a roll to it. It's almost like it was meant to be.
You know, I was thinking about something else, too, when you talk about Nick Saban. You know, you remember listening to his coach's show, and he would salute different people and thank them for what they meant to the program? Now it almost...
Who he talking about?
Well, like he would...
we talking about Bryant?
Saban. And I almost wonder if he knew that he was going to think about retiring. Or do you just walk in one day and say, hey, it's over?
It's the only thing he's ever done that I know of that wasn't planned.
See, I'm with you. But then he also gave a lot of goodbyes in some ways. I mean, the way that he was relaxed this season, Tony, it was also a little unique. It was almost like he was coaching with no pressure, if there is such a thing.
Yeah, I know. I don't know about that one.
Okay. But it just
I don't know about
maybe
that
a little bit more laughs in the press conference, a little bit more.
Well, he's definitely changed. He definitely changed the way he talked to the media over the past few years.
Yeah, like we went away from the rants.
Yeah,
we didn't get the rants.
That's right.
Hey, maybe that would be
even
Kalen DeBoer's first day on the job, get a rant.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
I mean, he just flips over
tapping
the podium
on the podium. Yeah, just start tapping, and oh wow, this is great. Coach, how do you like being in Alabama? Well, let me tell you something. Start tapping and just go off on a rant. Had nothing to do about being at Alabama. Because that's what Coach Saban would do. He'd take any question.
Coach,
yes,
he would. And he would twist it around.
Turn it into a tirade. Next thing you knew, he's like, well, who asked that dumb question?
Well,
I think he asked him about the weather.
And the media relation coordinator at Alabama, Josh Maxson, he would always tell some of the new reporters when they would come in from different schools, because you get new reporters in that works for ESPN or whatever that cover Alabama. They would come in, and he'd always tell them at the start of the season, he'd say, listen now, there's going to be a rant at some point with your question. It has absolutely nothing to do with your question. Just understand that you're a part of the process. Okay? He's going to scream, he's going to yell, but it has nothing to do with your question. He just got to the end of the press conference and he needed to get something out, and he may not even answer the question. Just understand that it has nothing to do with you. It's not personal. It's boom.
That's right.
And
it even got to the point there toward the end that he made sure everyone knew that it had nothing to do with the person who said the question. Yeah. He like, well, how was that one? Or Now
he would walk off the stage and
give a wink.
Yeah, and give a wink or give a thumbs up. Or I've even watched him walk off and go, "How'd you guys like that?" Like after the mic was off, "How'd you guys like that?" Or I mean, there was a funny side of Coach Saban. I mean, there was comedy. And I asked Joe Pendry that yesterday, and he nailed it. Talking about
what he said.
Well, he was talking about, he was aggravating. He said that he was working with Bill Belichick and Nick Saban up at the Cleveland Browns. And I'm really paraphrasing here, but he said that Nick Saban was asking about age. And he said, you look a certain year, number of years. And he said, well, you look 100 years older. And there's a comedy side of it because Nick Saban loves to smack talk. I mean, my understanding is on the golf course, he loves to chatter with you. This competitive
he likes
nature.
Get in your head.
Yes. And that's what Joe was kind of sharing. He said that there is a big time comedy side to Coach Saban that most people we don't ever see.
He likes to get in people's head. Ask Kirby. You think he's in his head?
1,000,000%.
I mean, he's all up in every assistant head who's ever coached a team against him. He's in every one of their heads.
Yes,
and they fall apart because they remember the basketball game.
And if we put Saban on the stadium, it'll be mentally, it'll get to him.
Well, you got to. I'd said something about the city before, and I used to kid about Sabanburg and stuff like that. Let's just name the state. We need look. The name Alabama. I hate to say this to people that aren't that grew up in Alabama and think that name's great. Generally, if you put
not all of us can be from Tennessee.
No, I'm just saying. If you poll people generally, especially in the West and the East, and you say Alabama, and you just said first thought comes to mind, it's not going to be positive. It's just not going to be positive. It's just how it is. It has nothing to do with football. Change the name of the state. Just call it Saban.
You think our friends across the state would be okay with that?
If you're not wearing crimson,
screw you. I'm cleaning up Malachi's. Yeah.
If you're not wearing crimson,
screw you.
Blank you.
Yeah. What did Noah say? He said, "Forget you." That's what he said. Yeah. He said that's the
a good one too.
Yeah. So
that's a good one.
Well, he cleaned it up for me because we were trying to figure out how to make this appropriate. So
I asked Noah a question or before I came on, and Noah came out and gave us all a little hint or whatever. He asked him about Taylor Swift, and he asked him why he listened to Taylor Swift, and he does it for the chicks. So I just want to let Noah know before we go off and after we do the thing, whatever.
But I don't know if Taylor Swift can help you out on that.
He told me a song. Oh, I've already established.
Are you a big Taylor Swift fan? Because Noah is.
No. When we're done after our thing in about 20 minutes, when we're done, I want him to play the Taylor Swift song that he recommended to all the guys that haven't mastered the hot hoochie coochie moves. And we're going to try to help them out a little bit. Or maybe not just the guys, but we're going to help them out with how to get there Noah-wise with Taylor Swift and hot hoochie coochie. Okay. So Noah, can we do that?
Noah, what song is the best for Taylor Swift?
Well, we just need to hear it, and then all of a sudden.
Oh, you're just going to play in the next segment. Okay.
All of a sudden, car windows are going to be steaming up. There's going to be all kinds of stuff going on there, and we're going to know now. Now, those of you that that are trying to
can you explain steaming up? I mean, like it's not cold outside; it's in the.
Well, when something's hot, it's surrounded by glass and starts getting hot, and the temperature on the outside is cooler, you can have some steam on the windshield. I'm just talking about it right now. If you're driving, look around, especially if you're here in Tuscaloosa. Look at that four-way stop. See if you see a little steam coming up.
Ryan, we need to get a break.
We're going to have to get a break. We got to get to break. Lord.
Are we going to play? When we're done, here.
Noah's face is red as his shirt.
We got to talk about gender fluidity.
I mean, he's literally
diapers.
embarrassed both of us. He got me in the early part of it. Now he's got you, Noah. Noah's face is red. That's why we
seen what Noah did when I had him when Brett and I were on there, and we told him to start with the song. You know, I'm not sure what the name of it is, but look at What You Made Me Do by Taylor Swift. I'm gonna tell you
is that Taylor?
That's some moves that needed to be filmed and put on YouTube.
Look at what you made me do.
That's right. I'm gonna tell you.
Maybe that's the theme
I was blown
song.
away. It came out of nowhere. I was like, all of a sudden it started going, boom. It was like the first time you saw Michael Jackson moonwalk. It was like, boom.
Maybe that's the song
By the way,
that Noah's going to pick.
I'm doing the best thing I can to make sure Digger has like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming up here in a couple of minutes. We'll get to him. I mean, it's kind of like Texas. They're not really a priority.
Well, just remember now at TJ, we're going to this right now.
The pharmacy at Midtown.
Hold on. That's right.
TJ
Go
Thomas.
ahead.
He's the Kalen DeBoer of pharmacists. I mean, is that what we're doing now, or we still?
He's still the Nick Saban.
Okay. So
Kalen DeBoer's got a long way to go.
Okay, so
we're not stepping backwards.
Okay, TJ Thomas is the Nick Saban of pharmacists, the pharmacy at Midtown.
Right.
He's
Bryant Denny Saban.
He can be.
A pharmacy.
Yeah.
A pharmacy.
Pharmacists at a pharmacy.
That's right. You know, he's the Nick Saban of pharmacists. Pharmacy at Midtown is the Bryant Denny Saban Stadium.
And they've got sterile compounding needs. The only sterile compounding facility here in Tuscaloosa. They've also got all your compounding needs and wink, wink. They got that hard to get medication. Matter of fact, I had someone call me today and said, "Where can you get it?" Well, I didn't know you were.
Tell your wife, tell your wife we said hey.
Ryan, we have to go.
We need a rim shot. But y'all think this is easy. Yeah, y'all just think you just roll in and it's easy. This is yeah, one more. Oh yeah. So tight.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
Let's go. Tony's dropping.
I have limits.
We've got to run. Help!
Boundaries.
Glory to God. We've started Free for All Friday, presented by Brian Hard Construction a day early. Thanks, Tony. Roll Tide.
Hey, just be thankful you're not a Georgia fan.
How about
you're
that?
not wearing crimson?
Forget them.
Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide. Tony in Tuscaloosa, presented by the pharmacy at Midtown. We roll on. Digger, Louisiana. Next, T-Town, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Rumsey Environmental, serving the sound of my voice with waste removal services, portable toilet services, construction debris removal containers customized to fit your job site. Maybe it's remodeling. Maybe it's the storage containers. We did this about a year ago, moved all of our furniture into a storage container, brought out the construction debris removal containers. They customized to fit your job site. When you talk about when you have to know it's being done right, that's the time to call Rumsey Environmental, 205-248-0000.
Vision changes? Don't wait. Talk to your eye doctor about GA today. Learn more at GAWon'tWait.com. That's GAWon'tWait.com.
What if you could win $1,000?
Yeah! It's always about the money.
And it only took you a minute to do it. It's happening on Fridays with the only legal betting app in Alabama.
Yeah!
Bet You. To have a shot at the money, go to the iPhone App Store and download the Bet You app. That's bet and the letter U. Open your account, and you're officially in the running to win $1,000 this Friday.
Let's win.
Make sure you download the Bet You app in the App Store and open your account to be in to win it this Friday.
Thanks so much, guys.
Winners will be contacted on Friday from our official betting app, Bet You, and Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Don Wallace CPA, 527 Main Avenue in downtown Northport. Small business and personal income taxes, payroll, sales tax needs. They can also help you with nonprofit or church accounting or auditing. In business since 1999, they work for you, not the IRS. When you take on taxes, you got to have someone on your side. It's Don.
Want to pay more? That's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, corner of Skyland and Hargrove, TuscaloosaHyundai.com.
Never miss a moment of the action. Download the free Tide 100.9 app today.
All my exes live in Texas, and Texas is a place I dearly love to be. But
No, this is a great Taylor Swift song. This is really, really good. I like it. It's like the best one you played throughout the week.
I thought he played
Hey, Digger, I hope you're taking notes. Good afternoon. You're in the game.
There you go.
You like Taylor?
I do. Real quick.
Me too.
We had the perfect timing. When Bryce suggested to wear in black, we both said no at the same. I'm like, oh my God, that was the dumbest thing he's ever suggested on radio. Why would you do that? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm listening to you. So how do you think being a Texas guy, how do you think we should honor Coach Saban?
You can honor Coach Saban by making it Bryant Saban Stadium. You know, when we did the RK Royal, we shortened it to DKR. You can call it the BS Stadium. It's perfect. You just go ahead and you have these horns sticking out of the stadium with his tail lifted up, and it'll say BS Stadium. There you go.
You like the BS Stadium? You think that was cute?
And you can't name it BDS because that's a venereal disease. So you're just going to have to leave it at Bryant Denning and do something else with Saban.
I will say Saban in the front. I mean, after what they call, Saban Bryant. Yeah, why not? He's the best. He's the greatest ever walked the sideline.
SB Stadium, okay, whatever. I'm going to leave that up to y'all because the museum moron that you had on earlier, kowtowing about beating Texas, and you knocked out Colt McCoy. You know, can I ask you one question about that game? What was the score when Colt McCoy went out?
Oh, come on. That was early in the game.
Just want
it
to
didn't
know.
really matter. Come on.
I just want to know.
That's not your only comeback, is it?
What was the score? What was the score?
17-3.
Yeah. Okay. We were up before he went out. So it's not what you think. It's what the rest of the country thinks. And they're all on my side this time, buddy. So you can tell your little moron who's at the Bryant Museum, okay, we were up when we went out. So, not to mention a second-rated, we had a backup quarterback that almost beat you. So, real quick, can I ask you something about Tennessee?
No.
Well, first of all, Bohannon, 15 years? That's got to be a record.
15 years. Well, he did something. Listen, no, we're not. I'm very embarrassed of.
That is like he must have done something ridiculously bad to get 15 years. Just call it. Oh my God, that's like, dude, you are to never coach again.
Well, and really, Brad Bohannon should never be around a college program again.
That's true. And look, I'm not going to pin that on Alabama, but I will pin it on your athletic director. Okay? He's the one that hired him. Okay? So, but this Tennessee thing, I'm being dead serious. This seems to be a pattern here.
Well, we should have never flirted with an Auburn guy. Okay?
Well,
those really never work out for us.
The other thing is that this NIL, we can all say what it is. It's politically regulated. and you still couldn't follow the guidelines, and your ass is in trouble now, okay? They just couldn't help themselves. It's almost as bad as Auburn doing this, okay? Because Tennessee was so desperate to get an $8 million quarterback. Now they're in trouble with the NCAA. It's ridiculous.
Well,
That's what I'm going to be faced with when we get into the SEC. Every one of these damn schools is going to be on probation because they can't follow the rules.
I mean, Digger, come on. I mean, you know what your school does. I mean, y'all hand out money like it's popcorn.
Yeah. Well, it's within the guidelines.
I mean, do we want to talk about
We're not going out there sending them on jets, are we? We don't
regardless,
give them
it's still a
rides in
benefit.
Ferraris like y'all do we?
Y'all took them and ride in a Lamborghini. I think that's what's more pricey. I don't know.
Hey, part of the deal. They get a Lamborghini, and they got to do the image part. They have to do the commercials for that dealership.
Here's your Lamborghini.
Well,
But don't dare do that horns down stuff. That'll really make us mad.
And that's the other thing. You know, we got a response for the horns down.
Hey, I
Not
saw
that we
TCU.
really care.
You guys are playing TCU, which is kind of like your big brother, right? Isn't TCU your big brother?
I don't know.
Okay, but I saw
Not really.
like
A&M
basketball.
is our little brother that we haven't seen.
Why not?
Our
TCU is your
longest
big brother because
trained-
they've been smacking you in the mouth for a couple of years here.
Well, that's until we got Gary Patterson. So, yeah.
Okay. But
We beat 'em last year.
TCU was buying shirts this weekend to honor the horns down comment. So I guess this might be the final time you guys play. Or
Oh, my God, I'm so devastated. What should we do?
if I was you, I'd go into the room and I'd put your head in the pillow and hold your breath.
There's only, a guy brought it up on the radio. It says when they do the horns down, just do your response. I said, well, what's that? He said, the middle finger. Nobody cares about that. I mean, come on. Hey, have you heard from Cynthia?
Cynthia is one of our best callers.
Have you heard from her?
We have not lately. I mean, you were rude to her the other day. She may not call
No, I
back.
wasn't. I
Yes,
was
you
calling
were.
her out. She told me I was all upset because y'all hired Gabor. I said, no, that's not true. I told him it was a good hire. True, we're 0-2 against Gabor, but guess what? We're 2-0 in Tuscaloosa. There's a big difference. Remember that. Tony.
Roll Tide.
Tony. Later.
Thanks. Digger. Louisiana. Corey in Trustville, 2 minutes away. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. When you go looking for trouble, you find it. And we found some on 359 in that southbound direction to 2059. You want to watch out for an accident on that ramp. Now, traffic is very slow on the main lanes of 359. 2059, not so much. And then as you come up further north, again on 359.
Townsend Nissan Super Sale is underway right now with instant savings from $2,000 to $10,000 on most in-stock units. No reasonable offer refused. Shop Townsend Nissan today.
Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. Eat Southern, be Southern. All the biscuit sandwiches, the great Southern cuisine like the bacon wrapped meatloaf, the fish and taters. All the great sandwiches like the Yardbird, the great salads, the daily lunch and dinner specials Monday through Saturday at Southern Ale House. We've also opened up an additional part of Southern Ale House and expanded with our catering needs there to fulfill what you're looking for. 205-248-7500. Ask for Taylor, 205.
At Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where you can be a winner too. Birmingham Racecourse Casino off I-459, exit 31 Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older.
Nuke's Eatery right there on University Boulevard, 205 University Boulevard. Call ahead orders, 205-758-2455. We always like to say close enough that you can smell the championships. It used to be the fringe of the campus of the University of Alabama. Now the campus has built around them. When you're talking about a great sandwich like the Nuke's Q sandwich or maybe a great salad, that macaroni and cheese is outstanding. The bowl of soup, a cup of soup, as we lower temps here in West Alabama, you can parlay those and you can pick a pair. Maybe it's a California style pizza. Maybe it's the great chicken salad, the pimento cheese. Catering from a small office party to a larger corporate event. Nuke's
iconic There are too many things I like about it. I don't know if I can finish the thought.
Bring on the spice and order the Chick-fil-A Spicy Deluxe Sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guest paid for their testimonial.
You're listening to the best sports talk show, breaking down the Crimson Tide, the game with Ryan Fowler on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Nate Oates has been able to do, and you look at hopefully Kalen DeBoer can follow in this pathway. And if you get both these guys locked down long term, and I don't think there's any indication that Nate Oates wants to leave here, but you got to make sure that he is completely happy with everything, whether it's facilities, if that's what he needs, or NIL money, or whatever the case may be. When you look at Kalen DeBoer, you feel pretty good about your top programs here. Right? I mean, you look through the coaches and you go, okay, that's a lot of boxes that have been checked. We're also following the story and seeing if Ron Grubb can possibly go back to the NFL. We don't want to lose him here in Tuscaloosa, but you want your coaches to be wanted. This can be beneficial to Alabama, but it's also a little nervous here. Let's continue, and we go to Corey in Trussville. Corey, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, Ryan. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm great. I hope you are too.
If you had to put a percentage on, how serious is the legit possibility of Ryan Grubb going to the Seahawks?
Well, let me just say this. There is no doubt a strong interest from the Seattle Seahawks organization in Ryan Grubb. I have talked to a couple of people via text message from Seattle, and they say that he is a top candidate out there. Now, you think about the time that he has spent with Kalen DeBoer. What's the benefit of going back to the NFL? That's where he wants to make his pathway in the NFL. But if you think about it, he spent Sioux Falls, Fresno State, UW. He comes here, and let's just say he's able to work out some things, where this team goes into a playoff. Let's say they make the playoffs. Let's say they're in the, a couple final teams. He could get a head coaching job.
I just think that if you go now, it kind of throws off the timing of everything you try to start up with Alabama. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in some ways, sure. I mean, it would. Are you concerned? I mean, as our friend, as we like to say.
Well, I feel like we're starting up something good here, and it can be gone offensively if he goes to the NFL. Because you would think that Ryan Grubb's probably one of the best hot names of coordinators. And I know you said you wanted your coordinators to be wanted, but at the same time, there's a reason why that, because he's good. And if we want the good to stay, if we can help it.
And Ryan Grubb is an elite offensive coordinator.
Great win for basketball last night.
Huge.
And it's always good when Kentucky loses.
And then we've got Mississippi State here, 7:30 inside Coleman Coliseum on Saturday.
That will not be easy. They're like a pest.
They took down Auburn last week. I'm not sure what they did in the midweek, but
they lost to Ole Miss.
Oh, they did. Okay. So then you got Auburn next week too. Are you already worried about that, Corey?
Well, going to Auburn is very difficult.
And then we got to go Auburn, LSU.
I think here's the way I look at the rest of the regular season real quick. If we can win one of the Kentucky, Tennessee, and Auburn games and win the rest of the regular games, I think we can get a top 3 or 4 seed.
Gotcha. Hey, Corey, I got to get to this break. Not get to this break, but get to the final call. We're just about out of time, but trying to split the time between you and Ellis. Hey, do you like real quick? Yes or no? Do you like Bryant Saban Stadium?
Yes, I think that's what we should be doing.
But it would be a BS stadium.
Mike and Dietzville says renaming it to BS is not the way to go.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't look at it like that.
Would you know that's what your opposing fans would nickname it? Corey, thanks, man. Let me get to Ellis. We've got about 2 minutes right here. Ellis, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Good afternoon, Ryan. How you doing this afternoon? I'm great. I hope you are too.
But trying to split the time between you and Ellis. We've got about 2 minutes right here. Ellis, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Good afternoon, Ryan Fowler.
What do you think about Bryant Saban Stadium? You don't like it? The hesitation?
Like it.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It needs to be a whole lot more stuff named after him in my book.
Sabanville.
Yeah.
Saban Boulevard, right there, University Boulevard. Take it down, Saban Boulevard.
Yeah, Saban Way.
Saban Way. Yeah, I like that.
You know, Nick Saban Airport.
The Nick Saban Airport would be another good one. I like that one. But we really don't have commercial flights, so it really wouldn't be that recognizable. But
I'm thinking about coming down there to the ball game this weekend.
Well, come on.
Boy, I kind of doubted it. Kind of doubted them last night when it was 17-2.
Hey, real quick, the Seahawks have requested to interview Lions passing game coordinator Tanner Engstrand for their offensive coordinator, so that may be a good thing. Go get him. Go get him. I think you should go get him and leave
go get him. Leave ours alone.
Yeah, and that's just now breaking. So Albert Breer is reporting that for the NFL Network. So, okay, I'll take that. Roll Tide. Hey, once I got to get out of here, man. I'm sorry. I'm out of time.
All right, Roll Tide, Ryan Fowler.
Hey, big thanks to our law enforcement officers, EMTs, firefighters, first responders, highway patrol. We remind you that we call this program The Game. The only way that you win the big game, the game of life, is to walk daily with our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Good night to you, Tom.
Thank you for listening to The Game.